to Robyn's Turntable, the podcast where we talk about CDs, records, and the occasional audio cassette tapes. I am your host, Robyn, and today... Wait a minute. Something ain't right here. This is not my channel. This isn't even my layout yet. I'm using the Sparks FM layout. I didn't even make one yet, and... Oh, wait. Guys, I already said I can't do guests yet. I haven't even started the first episode. Who's at my door? Hold on. Give me a second. What is happening here? Oh, God damn it! Oh, great. This isn't Robyn's Turntable. This is...
Too Many Movies, the podcast where we discuss DVDs, Blu-rays, and even the occasional VHS tape. I'm your host, Hal, and... Oh, hey, Robyn. How you doing?
Sorry. Hi. So, I thought, man, I was hoping I was going to do my podcast already. Oh, yeah, by the way, hi, Robyn here. I'm actually doing my own podcast. It's kind of like Too Many Movies, except with music. And that's a quick promo, by the way. Expect that out. Expect that to be done. It's out at some point. I don't know. I haven't even prepared for it yet. I'll explain later.
You'll get there. You'll get there. I get it. But yeah,
we'll get there.
We're not here to discuss movies. We are here to discuss movies. You're already screwing me up. All right, let me actually start by saying, before we get to the movies, Robyn, we still have two other guests who have never been here before. ZP, introduce yourself first.
Hi, I'm ZP. I do funny YouTube content. I also do some VA work on the side, or at least it's getting
Pause.
Take your time.
This is like the worst timing. Someone tried calling me. It was my best friend. I was like, no, wait, hold on.
Oh, great. Hold on. What is Yinsen messaging me?
We're off to
great. Why is my mom
with this guy? I can't with this guy.
Great. Why did my mom tell me my dad died? That's really funny.
Okay, restart.
Restart.
We'll restart my intro.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm ZP. I do YouTube content. I do some VA work on the side. It's very, very new, so you probably won't hear me around as much. I have a Twitter. I have a Twitch. I have a Blue Sky. I have a Twitter, but I only really use like two of those things. So, hi.
Hi.
Save the socials till the end.
No, it's okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you'll have another chance to shout him out at the end.
Yeah.
But anyway, Nevermore, introduce yourself.
Hey, my name's Keith David.
God.
I'm really happy to be on this podcast. I do the voice of Spawn. I do the voice of Frog Guy from Amphibia. And, I'm really happy to be here. Hal. I watch a lot of Argylle. Guile on, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do, Mr. David. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm really glad to be here.
I'm honored to have you on this podcast, man. I'm a huge fan.
I smoked a lot of crack before this, I'm not going to lie, but I'll see what I can do.
You got it, dude.
Now, please tell me you were recording our icons.
Yeah, I always record the icons now. That's how I do it.
Dude, that's going to be so funny on the episode.
What do you think you're doing trying to pose as Keith David? You're not even doing a good job.
I think I voiced drunk fuck from Asman.
I loved you in the thing.
His name
Mr.
is
David.
Husk, you piece of shit.
I said I do Spawn. Yeah, I do Spawn.
And what is Spawn but other Faust, you know?
I think I got it.
Gramps, I think we're gonna have to kill this guy.
Well, all right. I think Keith David, you think you've had enough to drink? No. I need to say my piece. I need to say no. You gotta go, Keith. I'm trying to find a fucking profile. So what? Fuck it, we're gonna do this one.
You're stuck with Keith David.
No, I'm actually stuck with
We're never getting to these fucking movies, dude.
Yeah.
I thought you were just holding a friggin' hot dog.
Alright.
Is that a chicken sandwich?
It's a chicken sandwich.
I thought so, yeah. Anyway,
my name is
turkey sandwich.
I'm gonna keep my name as Keith David for now. My name's Nevermore. I say a lot of funny things. I do a lot of funny things. I'm a little silly guy. I really wanted to watch Argylle, and I'm glad we're doing it now.
Mm-hmm.
I am a 20-year-old man who likes movies, so
Mm-hmm.
Take that as you will.
Which
Really? I thought you like music, like 21 Pilot.
That's true. I do like pilots who are 21 years old.
He's also the funny
True.
guy on that one Schaefer Ellis video that said "dudes kissing," and
I-
that
oh,
was
yeah,
about it.
I was gonna
that one
ask, yeah,
time.
which of the Schaefer Ellis videos were you in? Because I remember Robyn put you in one of them. I can't remember which one.
Okay,
He's actually like 3.
So fun story. So my good pals ZP and Nevermore. Despite the Shaft group that me and Hal are normally in, I also have another friend group that I've also considered my second family, known as, we call it the Sparks Gang, or we don't even have a name. I guess since we call them, so I guess since JT calls us the Sparks Gang, I guess that's what we're called now.
Yeah.
I think I may have mentioned them here on the show before. Sora, Sparks Iris, been a close friend of mine I've known for like a long time. One of my first friends on the internet, and when he made a server, we went through a lot of history together. We've seen people come and go. Some people that have come and stayed with us has been these two right here, and they've been the light of the show ever since.
Aww.
And as of recently, I started to invite Nevermore and ZP into our Shaft group, into the Wheel Night server. And just like this is the closest thing we'll ever get of a crossover, because I doubt anyone else would be interested. But yeah, I wanted them. I offered that I opened the door to anyone just being let in that group, and so Nevermore and ZP, we're invited, and the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Oh, but of course, I do have to mention, since you guys got to know them very well, I figured I figured I'd do a bit for the Hundreds of Beavers video. That's where this all began.
Okay.
Because since Hundreds of Beavers, it's funny because you guys just did an episode on that, didn't you?
Literally last episode was when we finally did a Hundreds of Beavers episode. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with Hundreds of Beavers, same people that made Lake Michigan Monster. So when James made the Lake Michigan Monster, mostly everyone in James's friend group, including me, did like a minute so video talking about our love for it, and just praising it, and just force people to go watch it themselves. We did that again with Hundreds of Beavers. With me, I was just thinking, a part of me had no idea what I wanted to say. Well, I just kind of improvise with what I say.
Yeah.
But I think with that, it's just like, you know what? Part of me also wanted to do a bit where it's just like, I had nothing to say. Hey, Nevermore, say something funny. And then he would just say something funny and just cut to that. That's what it started out as. It started out as that, and I figured, you know what? Since ZP is also the group, I feel like he should be included as well. There's like a whole like behind the scenes full director's cut version of that whole segment on my channel if you guys want to go see it. But yeah, it was just Nevermore eating a bowl of cereal, and then ZP confused as heck, and then it just cuts to Nevermore saying, "I like men."
Yeah.
Oh, you guys.
Dude, yeah, you gave me like so many fucking takes of you eating that bowl of cereal, dude.
That was one bowl.
What was the cereal?
There was the dudes kissing bit that you used for the smile.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Those outtakes had so much potential for like different uses. So yeah, I used that again in the Smiley Friends shitpost and the Smiley Friends ranking. I included Nevermore in the Persona 3 ranking, like in the corner during Kaisuke's section, because I always told them like, dude, Kaisuke just looks like Nevermore.
He does.
I also want to do a more bigger bit during the Terry Lessler part in that segment, but James told me, nah, I didn't want anything to like interrupt that gap, but you can think of something else. I'm like, all right. So I just went with that.
Yeah.
And then there's the Muppets bit.
Oh yeah, the Muppets bit where I did the whole Roy. That's a snippet of a potential. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that, but I did that for fun. I went fucking crazy with that Kermit Swamp Year segment. I want to make it as stupid and like chaotic as possible, and so I just made a scene up just to think, oh yeah, this is how it played out. And it was supposed to play during after James was talking about it. I did like that one musical part in the pet store, and it would be cue to that, but he kept it at the end. I'll post the full version of that like at a later date, because I want people to hear that without the pitch audio of DA games we want out. And so I used the line of like Nevermore saying, "This is a threat" on Goggles during that scene. Because I think Goggles just looks like a frog Nevermore.
Well, now that we've introduced everybody, why don't we get into the actual movie?
Yeah.
Dude, how many minutes has passed? Hell, I gotta know.
I'm about like 15 minutes into recording, so.
Oh my god, we spent 15 minutes on the intro, guys.
Too many minutes.
So, anyway, I remember a while back when I first met Nevermore and ZP. I feel like both of them were just like, hey, could we someday do an episode on Argylle? And I'm like, it's weird that both of you have asked me. So why don't we just kill two birds with one stone and have you both come on the show? And I'm like, well, it's Nevermore and ZP. We got to include Robyn as well. So here we go. We have a 4-way on Argylle.
Yeah, let's keep the year of Robyn going.
Yeah.
Except it's a new year.
Oh, every year's the year of Robyn at this point.
Yippee! No more Nolan episodes, baby! Wait, no, fuck. We're almost like near the end of it.
We do have a couple more Nolan episodes, but we'll get to those when we get to those. Anyway, so you guys asked.
I did get following recently, so I am prepared for that.
That's good. Anyway, you guys did ask me to do an episode on Argylle, and I'm thinking, you know what? An Argylle episode could be fun because I've seen Argylle. I've seen it twice now, and we'll get to my thoughts on it in a few minutes. But I just want to say, it is funny that we started with Argylle, and I realized too late, or not too late, because obviously we still ended up going through with it. But I realized at some point, it's funny that we're talking about Argylle on this podcast, because this podcast I've talked about is about physical media, about my collection, the stuff I buy and try to collect and put in my collection of physical media. Argylle does not have an official Blu-ray release.
Gee, I wonder why.
So it's an Apple TV Plus exclusive, but was still released in theaters. It was weird because it was still released in theaters. So it's like, that's bizarre. I mean, I was not going to make it an Argylle exclusive episode. That's why we paired it with Man from U.N.C.L.E. I'll get to why we paired it with Man from U.N.C.L.E. later on. We're just talking about Argylle now.
I think I understand why you did.
Yeah, of course. But so to start things off,
it didn't click me until like halfway through the film or something like that near the end.
Oh, really? Halfway? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Robyn, why don't you start off with your basic opening thoughts on Argylle, and then we'll go through with ZP and Nevermore's thoughts on Argylle. What did you think of Argylle?
Well, wait, I can't say that because they're gonna make fun of me for saying it.
Say it.
To be frank, no, this is a bit in the
kill you.
No, this is a bit in the server where if I say like to be frank, they're gonna go, "No, you're Robyn," and I'm like, guys.
Oh, there's that. Well, there's that too. I thought you were talking about Eden's Garden.
I must be frank, Your Majesty.
Oh, I forgot. We did that bit with Eden's Garden, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot. I remember. I think this all started because Hal and ZB actually did see like Argylle first, like before any of us did.
Yeah. I saw it.
And they had like a shared. Yeah. You know, that's like another like Apple film like I kind of wanted to see that I heard about called Fly Me to the Moon. I thought that was interesting.
Was that the one with Channing Tatum and it's about like going to the moon or something like that? Like they're faking the moon landing or something?
Yeah, I think it was. I remember seeing like a trailer about it and I'm like, damn, this kind of looks interesting.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, continue.
But yeah, I know like that I remember like I think you guys figured out like, oh, you guys did see like Argylle. And yeah, I know like you guys didn't like probably like it that much, which I get why, but like, that's kind of like how this all kind of like started with like this domino effect of how we ended up doing this. And I think we just made fun of it one day in the server. We just kept yapping about it. And then Nevermore was just really invested in it. I made that into a running gag in our Persona 5 dub. It's just, despite the origin story, for my opinion on Argylle, I can kind of see why, like, I can kind of see why it's definitely flawed. There's definitely like some flaws to it, but I think with me, I couldn't help but enjoy it. It's just stupid, fun spy shit. I just can't help but get a kick out of. It's just like, wow, this is actually kind of actually fun. You guys actually hate this, but I think what also helps is that this is the same guy who likes Cars 2. Of course, this is up my alley. It's Cars 2 without the cars. It's just stupid spy shit. I fucking love stupid spy shit.
You kind of blew my
And,
mind as it being Cars 2 but with humans. Because it kind of is when you think about it.
It kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, fuck, you're right. It kind of is in a way.
I hate that it's kind of like that, except with Tomater. Except there's like no character to really fill in for Tomater in this sense.
Yeah, I mean, because technically, Ellie
could kind of fit in for Tomater.
I mean, she's not Mater-esque, where she's like a dumb hillbilly, but she is this kind of clueless character who's getting swept into this world of spy stuff, you know?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's still somewhat very loosely connected to Cars 2, but the fact that we can make any connection to Cars 2 just makes it hilarious no matter what.
I mean, almost any movie you could really, if you drew the line far enough, you could always find a connection to Cars 2 with any movie.
That is true. That is true. That's true. Yeah, ZP, what are your opening thoughts on Argylle?
So, Argylle is one of those where, like, I was coming home for Christmas break from college, and me and my mom were trying to find something to do with the town that we were at. We're like, we're done with what we got to do, but we don't know what's going on. And then we saw all the movies going on, and we saw Argylle. We watched the show, and we're like, this is interesting. It does at least have an interesting plot on the forefront, so, you know, why don't we just go and see it? Because none of the other movies looked appealing at the time. So we go in there, and as we're watching the movie, like, it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that. For as much gripe as I give about it, I will say that the plot that they were going for was, in fact, very interesting. I liked the way they did it. I just... I got gripey with the fact that it felt like that the movie didn't really know what it wanted to do. It had some elements that I think they wanted to build into, like, in a more subtle way, but then they're just like, oh, well, what if we did... The way that I personified it is like, as if you're imagining a script room and you're talking about the basics of the script, and they're like, what if we add in this twist? And what if we add in this twist? And instead of just compromising on one, you just threw them all in.
Yeah.
But all the same, you know, it's a fun spy thriller that I think a lot of people can genuinely get a lot of joy out of. But Apple does really need to up their game.
That's fair.
I can tell, like, I mean, I can tell it's like a budgeted film. No, it's an Apple original. Hell, you can tell it's an Apple original because I think, like, the first 10 minutes, like, I see either some people using an iPhone or I'm seeing characters with using, like, a Mac PC. It's like, oh god, this is totally an Apple original. You can product placement.
Yeah, it's blatant, like how you notice in something produced by Sony and everybody only uses Sony products in those movies. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Which is funny because I believe Fly Me to the Moon is also an Apple original, but also released by Sony.
Okay. Ooh, so they probably use both to appease the gods.
One last thing I did want to mention too is that, like, for Argylle, it is so tough to be able to look at a film like that where, like, you had an entire production team behind this, so you could just easily tell where some parts are either forced or the CGI just kind of feels out of place and whatnot. And then you look at something like Godzilla -1, and I'm like, that was made by 12 people, and that honestly looks like way better than an entire production team from a huge corporation. How the hell did that happen?
Hold on. ZP, you saw -1?
Yeah.
What the fuck, based?
Well, lore drop.
ZP is the last fucking person I expect watching -1. I didn't take him as a Godzilla fan. I don't know. I just never took him as a Godzilla fan. Like, maybe mostly William, my IRL friend Donald. I think Hal, maybe, for, like, a podcast purpose.
I like Godzilla movies.
Yeah, like, okay, so, like, as a side note, so me and my friends from college, we were trying to be able to find something to do because it was kind of their way of distracting me because this was right after I got into the deer accident with my car. So they wanted to be able to, like, actually, no, this was before the accident, now that I'm thinking about it. They just really wanted to see Godzilla -1, and the tickets were really cheap. So we went to go see it, and I loved that movie.
It's really good.
It's so good, dude.
The only time I don't like a Godzilla movie as much, now it still is cool, I just can tell what kind of movie it becomes because of the studio, and that's why I don't like Legendary Studios Godzilla movies as much. And when I saw -1, it immediately opened my eyes to, like, wow, Legendary Studios just really throws it down your throat. Versus this one where it actually builds into what Godzilla is meant to be.
Yeah, because I know, like, Godzilla X Kong came around, like, the same corner. I know, like, me and Don also saw that as well. I know, like, yeah, it's probably, I'm pretty sure, like, it definitely has, like, flaws and shit like that. And I'm sure everyone would have, like, a different opinion. Like, compare the two films, how, like, one's, like phenomenal and the other one's just, like, but I'm here just like, holy shit, 2 cakes.
Yeah.
That's definitely a good way of looking at it. Nevermore.
Please.
Nevermore, why don't you go into what you like about, or why don't give your opening thoughts on Argylle? You haven't had a chance to speak.
Yeah. I get some dialogue here. So like, I remember, like in the server when we were like, I forgot what we were even watching, but I remember just randomly saying, "Oh, this is funnier than Argylle." And I just kept saying Argylle, and that became like the bit of the night. And so, and then I looked up fucking the movie, and I was like, there's like 3 versions of Argylle, and I don't know which one's actually Argylle. And then, so we're watching the 2024 version.
Yes.
And then I sat there saying that, it was probably the like I could like no edibles could like prepare me for what the fuck that was, or no like that was the biggest fever dream of my life, especially when he destroyed like half of Greece as well. Like that was insane. It's one of those movies where I could turn off my brain and just like have fun with it.
Mm-hmm. It's not a very smart movie, but yes, yeah. In a way,
it's not smart, but it's so like unpredictably like funny. Like it's not even trying to be.
Oh my god! Wait, I know what movie we were watching that night. It was fucking Twilight.
Oh.
We were watching Twilight, and then later we just kept talking about Argylle.
Was that in our server, or was that in your guys' server?
That was in our server. That was
okay.
How? Robert Pattinson. This was probably Olivia's idea. Come on.
Well, that's what I'm asking, because I remember us watching Twilight in the Wheel Knight server. I just don't remember bringing up Argylle, but it has been a couple months since we last watched Twilight, so.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like that was back in September, and that was and the thing is that so. In Sorcerer, we have a thing called Greatest Moments where we just archive or just like bring up some or just funniest bits that we just kept gagging on in a VC.
Yeah,
I made a chat like that in the Wheel Knight server because I figured, oh yeah, we probably should like do shit like that. We just archived them or dumbest memories.
Oh yeah.
First thing was us talking about Argylle. The Argylle bit was our first greatest moment I logged.
Oh, that's
we need to chat more.
Yeah. You Argylled it.
We are maybe the Argylle were the friends we made along the way.
Maybe.
Anyways,
I think we just made that our new Morbius. It's just like we just use Morbius as like a verb.
Yeah.
Instead of like Morbius, I'm Argylling.
Yeah, Argylling all over the place.
I'm going to
anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Anyways, yeah, but like you told me this was an Apple TV original, and I was like, these are the same fuckers who made Luck, the animated movie that came out on August 5th. This is about to be the worst shit I've seen.
You saw that?
It's really funny because fucking when I was watching it, I was like, John Cena, and then I look away, Samuel Jackson. like, what the fuck? But yeah, like ZP said, like it does a lot of like things that make me go, why? What are we doing with the plot? But like at the end of the day, like I was surprised with my like I was pleased with my $10 purchase of Argylle.
$10 purchase? Did you what?
Yeah, Keith David's my door-to-door salesman. He sold me Argylle.
He sold me $10 to buy Argylle with.
Listen, we should have seen Keith David instead of Samuel L. Jackson in that film.
Yeah, that would go crazy.
Yeah.
That would go crazy.
Dude, you know what else? You know what other actor? You know, the fact we brought up John Cena and Samuel L. Jackson. There's another actor we have not brought up yet that also is in this. Yeah, Mr. White.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mr. White, right?
Bryan
and then
Cranston.
There's also Dua Lipa.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing with Argylle. There's a lot of
Dua
actors
Lipa?
in this. Yeah, Dua Lipa. She's at the beginning. She's the.
That was her.
That was her. She was the blonde lady that
What
Henry Cavill's dancing with at the beginning.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and then she.
Oh my god.
And then she unalives herself.
You mean from that one scene where like when John Cena just picked her up from the moving bike?
Yeah, picked her up from the motorcycle.
That was great.
Casually picks her up from the moving bike. I was like, what was she moving at? 5 miles an hour? You just kind of like you did it like without even like force. It was just.
Yeah, it's John Cena, I guess. You know. Yeah, no, that's the thing is like this movie, I remember watching it in the theater and thinking, man, this is dumb. and then it kept getting dumber. Like
Yeah.
I still stand by this.
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, this movie is probably has some of the most wildest movie twists. It also just has the most movie twists I've ever seen in a movie, where everything just keeps coming. It's just like, nope, this is a reveal now. No, this is a reveal now. And it got so bizarre that the first time it was a little much, but rewatching it again, and especially with people, I had so much fun with it. I was like, okay, I now see this might be a modern so bad it's good classic in the making. I feel. I mean, at the moment, I've only seen it twice. But it was really fun, especially watching it with you guys. It just kept getting more ridiculous as the movie went on. That it's like, yeah, it was really funny.
I think the fact that you bring that up, I feel like I've like learned is like when you're watching like something with like friends, you have like a more better experience with it and like more like attachment to it than you would have like on your own. And I think a great example for that has to be Inside Out 2 for us, because me, ZP, Nevermore, and the rest of the Sparks gang, we got together at Too Many Games last year. We're hoping to do something like that again with MomoCon this year. And during that weekend, we watched Inside Out 2 together. We saw that all together in theaters. And honestly, that just became like a film that we were all like personally attached to. Like we adore that film like that much, and especially with me, I probably still would have liked it on my own. But I feel like with like that, like when it came to watching with them, it's like, nah, I can't watch this on my own. It has to be with the group, because this is an us thing, and it just brings us together.
Well, it's interesting because you brought up when we were watching it all together, when we were watching Argylle all together, I remember this, you specifically said, Hal, I think this is the next Faust. And
I did say that.
Yeah, and I do agree with that, because Faust is one of those movies where you have to watch it with a group of people so then they can experience it together. Because I mean, for those who have seen Faust, you know what I mean. I feel like this one's a little more enjoyable for everybody else, whereas with Faust, the only people who are actually enjoying it are me and Robyn. But you know,
well, yeah, that's the thing. It's just like, no, you gotta have like you gotta have like your partner in crime with like a film to like spread the good word about.
Yeah, whereas I feel like Argylle, yeah, a lot of people are gonna watch it and be like, this is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen, but I think it's far more enjoyable to the masses on average than something like Faust. I still love Faust.
Yeah, I think it's like a Faust, and like this is like, if you hate it, that's fine. We go and enjoy it. This is gonna be our thing. You just wouldn't get it. And I feel like that'd be the same with like Argylle. It's like, if you don't get it, tough luck.
I mean, because I remember when it first came out, people hated it already because it was one of those movies where the trailer played constantly for a lot of people. I never noticed yeah, that was a thing. People were just like, I am so sick and tired of seeing this trailer. It is annoying. Which,
to be fair, I haven't even heard about this movie until like I think like you and ZB brought it up one day.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really notice its trailer playing as often more than other trailers. Like, I understand the idea of getting sick of trailers. I brought this up on the podcast before. Trailers like the Eternals trailer or the Bullet Train trailer really started to annoy me after a while, because I would just see them every time I go to the movies. I never noticed Argylle more than any other trailer, but I guess it was just annoying for a lot of people. So when people saw the movie finally, they were already kind of sick and tired of it, that I guess they were judging it more harshly because it was being obnoxious to them. Because I feel like now that I've seen it a second time, it's been like a year since it came out. It's like, okay, I can now judge it as, this is just a really funny bad movie, you know?
Right.
Well, the thing about it too is like for me, I never saw a single trailer about Argylle for like the entire time. I only ever discovered it because I just looked at the website for the theater and just saw that it was playing.
Right.
And I had no idea what it was about. I had no idea what I was about to get into, and yada yada yada. So for me, I wasn't really going into it with annoyed eyes. I was just like, oh, well, at least this probably is like the most entertaining one out of all of them. But I can also understand. Like, I used to work in a movie theater, so I completely understand people that get annoyed with movie trailers, especially when movie trailers hype up the movie and then you watch said movie and it doesn't build to the hype that it builds in the trailers.
Yeah,
they overhype it a little bit too much on the trailer just because they probably know it's not going to get a lot of people in the door if they don't.
Yeah,
And also, just as a small little pro tip for anyone watching this who works in a movie theater, the best thing you could ever do in order to reduce the amount of times you get annoyed with a trailer is learn them to a T by script. Because then you can start reciting it as you're walking into theaters and get enjoyment out of other people, which then it has it dwindle down a lot worse. Unless the trailer's just that bad, because I've had that too. But then you only have to worry about the bad ones. You don't have to worry about all of them.
Yeah. I mean, trailers nowadays can get pretty rough, especially you know, because they love to reveal a lot of stuff in the third act just to like get people excited. And it's like, you shouldn't be showing this in a trailer, dude. I don't think this movie had that problem because I did not know what the twists were going to be going in. I knew there were going to be twists, but then I was kind of shocked by the amount of twists this movie has.
Yeah, it's one of the most like ridiculous twists, like because like what? She was the Argylle, like dude, the Argylle isn't even real, like actually made me cry.
Yeah,
like I was so like distraught.
So what?
Yeah, I want to like go into depth in the plot pretty soon, but like I'll let you guys keep ramble.
So well, we can definitely go into it where like, you know, the story is basically there's a writer of a spy series, a series of novels about a spy named Argylle, and the author gets swept up into this conspiracy where everything she writes in the books is like a real event for actual intelligence agencies in the real world. And so they are kind of suspicious of her. So they have to go in and kind of figure out what's going on. And the ultimate twist that it's revealed like halfway through the movie. The ultimate twist is she was the real Agent Argylle, but her name wasn't Argylle. It was
Kelly.
Yeah, we made that joke.
R. Kelly.
You took my joke.
It was a good joke, yeah, because it was
I
like
was gonna say it.
Yeah, it was R. Kyle, but then you switch it around, it looks like R. Kelly.
Because the worst part is how they spelled Kyle. They spelled it Kylle, and I'm like, why did you do two L's? Now I can literally just flip the E and the Y, and it literally is just R. Kelly.
Yeah, R.
Why
Kelly.
did you do that?
They were not thinking at all with this fucking movie. Like,
No, they were not. It's dumb, stupid.
But goddamn, is it funny?
It's dumb, stupid fun.
Yeah.
And then for just the rest of the movie, we just kept calling her, you go, R. Kelly.
Yeah, you go, R. Kelly. Take the piss out of those. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, but even though that's like the ultimate reveal, it's like, oh, she was a secret agent the whole time. She just had amnesia, which pretty convenient amnesia, I might add. But then it kept going with the twists where it's just like, oh, she was actually the greatest spy ever. Oh, actually, these weren't her parents. Oh, it just keeps going and going. Oh, this one character we didn't think was real the whole time. And it just keeps going and going, and you're like, stop.
This character we thought was dead. There was secretly a gap that's exactly at the very top of the heart where you can be able to just shoot a bullet right through, and it won't affect anything at all. Even though that there's probably going to be grazing with the bullet.
Yeah.
I didn't even bother to mention that during the watch through. I was like, mother.
Oh, wait. Oh my god, dude. I'm just noticing Nevermore's DMs. He actually named himself Keith David. I thought he just changed the icon. Dude, what the fuck?
no, I gotta stay committed.
Stay committed to the bit.
It's really funny you mentioned that because one of my other friends DM'd me, and he always said was, I'm not gonna ask.
But yeah, so it's just a really dumb plot. I mean, it's not the worst idea for a spy thriller. It's like, okay, a spy who doesn't remember she's a spy. I feel like that has to be a story in a movie before. I feel like that has to have been.
I was just about to ask that too. I was like, I feel like I've seen this exact plot somewhere else, but I cannot name.
Yeah, I guess Memento technically.
Yeah, Memento.
Yeah, the memory loss thing. Yeah, you can connect it to and Memento handles that story far better. Obviously.
Sorry, I had to get my Memento mention out of the system. It's not a Robyn episode without Memento mention. Oh, speaking of which, I found out recently. I read an article like yesterday, and Guy Pearce regrets Memento, and now I'm sad.
What? Okay, I don't want to derail the podcast, but you have to go into this. What does he regret doing the movie, or does he regret how he did about the movie?
I think like he was just like rewatching it. I'm just like, God, I was so bad in that movie.
Oh, okay. I mean, I feel like a lot of actors go through that where they're just like, oh, this is my most famous material, and I kind of regret it. I feel like I could have gone back. You know, you as an artist, you always go back and are just like, I could have done this better. But I mean, hey, if he could have done better than what he already did was fan-fucking-tastic.
All right,
so...
I found it. He said, I'm having an existential crisis. I watched Memento the other day, and I'm so depressed. I'm shit in that movie. I never thought of that before, but I did this Q&A of Memento earlier this month and decided to actually watch the film again.
That's so sad. Yeah, because he's really good.
While I was playing, I realized I hate what I did. And so all this stuff about an exec and Warner being why I haven't worked with Chris again, it came crashing down. I know why I didn't work with Chris again, because I'm no good in Memento.
Oh, no.
No, you had one job.
No. First of all, he was bad in Alien Covenant and Prometheus. Those are the movies he should be regretting, not fucking Memento. But okay.
Yeah, come on. That's like my favorite movie of all time. You can't break my heart like this, dude.
As you go further down the article, he's like, I'm actually really proud of these other roles I played in this Alien movie. It's like, what the fuck?
No.
Now that would be depressing.
You know, to transition into the side, you could have had the perfect opportunity to say "Una memento." You didn't even take it. It's like "Una memento."
Like, fucking hell.
Yeah. You know what? That's funny though, because I'm sure all the actors in Argylle are gonna look back and be like, you know, I could have done better. And it's like, well, yeah, I can agree to that because it's
John Cena wasn't even there.
Yeah, that's true. John Cena wasn't there.
Yeah, you can't see him.
It's like you can for that movie. I could see where a lot of the actors would be like, "Yeah, I could have done a lot better." I was like, the script could have done you also a lot more justice.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry, but the script and what you had to work with was not doing them any favors at all.
No.
It was just, I can only imagine what the green screen rooms for those scenes were like.
Well, think about it, because like I feel like this is an issue with a lot of modern movies. Not to be all like, oh, modern movies suck, old movies good. It's like, no, there's absolutely still good movies being made today. Literally last episode, we were talking about what I now consider to be one of my favorite movies of all time, Hundreds of Beavers. And that came out last year or even.
Mm-hmm.
But
I still need to show you that movie. I know ZP has seen Lake Michigan Monster. I showed it to him. This is the same guy who made the Hundred Beavers.
Oh, dude, Hundreds of Beavers. Yeah, everybody needs to see it. But my point is, you can still make good movies nowadays. It's just that a lot of the stuff being made just isn't. And I think a lot of that has to do with the writing. And yeah, you can definitely tell with the writing with this movie, because the movie is more interested in having shocking twists to shock the audience rather than building good characters. Because, you know, who are any of these characters? Do you care for any of them? Not really, because the movie doesn't care for them. The movie cares about shocking the audience with like, oh, we have this amazing twist. We're going to totally, fool the audience, and they're going to be like, wow, I didn't see that coming. But it's like, I don't care for these characters to begin with. So when you have a twist that, I don't know, changes something about the characters, it's like, I don't know what this changes, because I don't care about these characters. I don't care about Ellie / Rachel / R. Kelly. Like, I don't care.
What?
She's not an interesting.
You didn't care about them? I thought they were the best part of the movie. You know why?
Yeah, why?
You know why?
Why?
Just the cat.
Let me remember one thing they did. So they turned evil, right?
For like a second.
For like a second. And then Walter was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this."
Yeah.
And then he
died. Oh my god,
I can't believe this.
That's a fucking quote we've been quoting in Sorcerer, by the way.
Dude, the coolest part is when she shot the dude named Argylle. That was really funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
What? What? Let me go through my notes real quick.
Okay.
Oh, you have notes?
Wrote the book.
What'd you name the notes?
We're talking about. He can't write notes.
What I named the notes?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I did name the notes?
What did you name them?
Why John C. Reilly is bad.
John C. Reilly? He doesn't show up in the movie.
Oh wait, I'm gonna say, oh fuck, guys, oh my fault.
I was about to say
Nevermore.
I was about to say Nevermore doesn't write notes. He has a handwriting similar to a freaking medical professional. Like, you don't want to see what dude.
No, you really.
I think Nevermore. That was saved for the JT server.
No,
You got the wrong one, bro.
No, my handwriting is actually like atrocious. Like it is worse than Argylle. Like I'm gonna be honest with that.
Your handwriting to Argylle. We don't even know what his handwriting's like.
ZP, you see my handwriting?
Yeah, actually, I haven't. I was just making a bit.
Oh, because you're not wrong. It's really bad.
Well, Nevermore and MomoCon, you're gonna write for me. I don't know what you're gonna write, but write some. I want to see how bad it is. Let me prove you wrong.
I'll write the entire Argylle script. I'll do that.
That would be fucking funny, but there ain't no way you would pull that off.
So
you write ahead of time. I meet up with you, MomoCon, and he just hands that to me. I'm like, you actually fucking did it. I'm gonna read everyone in the hotel room right now.
With the original thing that Hallett said, the thing that I notice about more movies nowadays that a lot of them seem to really lack in order to show what makes a good movie is a lack of practicality, because a lot of movies like from like 10 to 15 years ago, they really didn't have like a lot of CG or a lot of practice or a lot of like more visual things to work with, because you only had so much budget, and because it was a newer thing, it was a lot more expensive. So there were a lot of movies out there where it just wasn't as accessible. So then they had to really format what they're working with and what they're writing to make up for that. But now that every single major film industry and whatnot just has infinite budget, they don't put the effort into those extra pieces. They just yep.
I'm looking at it now. They have a $200 million budget. What the fuck were they doing?
Oh, Argylle's $200 million?
Yeah.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
That is nuts. That's nuts.
And they use most of it on the CG, I believe.
Nope.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it now. $500,000 was on crack.
Okay.
But see, that's the thing. Is like,
why is it listed here that it's on crack?
They've got all this movie, so they try to make it look as good as possible. They get whatever stars in order to get the people to come in, but they don't put it in the part where it actually counts, and it gets really annoying. That's what makes it so hard for so many movies. Like like again, back to Godzilla -1. Like that was only made with 12 people in total, and they had to use every single shot that they could, make everything as practical as possible because they didn't have the CG to work with, and any ounce of the budget that they did for CG, they got picky as fuck with. And I'm glad that they did. Like the explosions, every single thing that Godzilla was doing, like it made it feel much more alive and real because they actually cared about what they could do practically than what they could just throw money into.
Yeah, you bring up a very good point.
They used it very wisely.
Yeah, very wisely.
I think also because I think I believe the director of it was also like very talented for like known for like other works he's done. I think we watched like the first film of the Always trilogy one day. They did. I believe they also did the animated the 3D Lupin movie.
Yes, yeah, because the director of -1 does have a background in CG animation and VFX and stuff like that. So
and just making good films.
Yeah, making good films. Exactly. That also helps. Whereas you definitely get the feeling that the directors and filmmakers of Argylle are only using CGI because they can. It's like, oh, that's how it's done. We're not going to put any thought into these stunts or these visuals. We're just going to CGI it later. Because we definitely do live in an era where people are very anti-CGI when it comes to a lot of movies. And I feel like that is kind of a shame because there is a lot of effort that goes into CG animation. And not to say that like, oh, for years there was always this idea of like practical versus CGI when it's like, look, you can have bad practical effects and bad CG effects and it can still end up with a good movie. Like that's the important part. But the problem with a lot, like ZP was talking about this, the problem with a lot of modern movies is they're just throwing all this shit into the CGI and the CGI can't even deliver anything. So it's like, okay, you're putting all this money in for nothing. And it's like, the problem isn't the CGI. The problem is the incorporation of the CGI, because a lot of the CGI in this movie, you're like, that did not need to be CGI. That could have been practically done. So it doesn't even look good. That's the other thing. Like, that's the ultimate, like, worst part about it. The CGI looks like dog shit. It looks awful.
it breaks the immersion when you can easily tell that it's CGI because the impact of what's going on in the scene is just gone.
Yeah.
Like every time I watched those scenes, I was like, oh, that was cool, but I didn't really feel it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you get to the oil skating scene.
Oh my god.
The scene that officially broke William. That was incredible to watch. The fact that William was William of all people. Yeah, William was there. The fact that he was speechless when we got to the oil skating scene where he's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, and yeah, the oil looks
better. I mean, that was some of the poorest oil CGI I've ever seen.
It looked
just
awful.
Coming out of the thing.
Yeah.
There's no practicality to where the oil was showing up. Like for instance, the Argylle, she
Argylle
skating. Yeah, Argylle. You know, I'm just gonna say that from now on because it's a lot easier for some fucking reason.
Agent Argylle. Yeah.
She's somehow finding a way to use knife blades as skates on a liquid, and are just going all around and is like getting all knees deep in this oil, and then she gets up and is like gone. You didn't even bother to like make it feel real after the fact. You just were like, yeah, that's how it happened.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm an ice skate professional. I can figure out how to skate on liquid. I can figure out how to do this with just blades on a viscous liquid. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
I'll be frank. I'm gonna be real. Yeah, sure. The idea was there, and honestly, despite the fact it was like all like stupid CG shit, part of it was kind of like blown away. I'm like, wait, this is actually kind of like fucking cool. What the fuck? I know this looks so badly edited.
Yeah.
It's like CGI and shit. Like this would like look way cooler if like done right, or in another perspective, fucking animated.
Or even at that, like having like a cooler room where they're starting to have water pour out and then it freezes over and then you have an actual ice skating rink. Like that was also perfectly possible because we were revealed to be on a ship. Like they're gonna have a form of coolant in some degree, either for food or for whatever, and they just didn't bother. I'm like, that would make way more sense in this scenario, especially because she's an ice skating champion. To have ice.
Yeah, but they're just like, we're not smart enough to think of an idea of how we can get her on ice, so let's just make it oil. It's like,
so let's just make it oil.
Just make it oil. Yeah.
So all the ice rinks were unavailable to rent, so let's just use oil instead.
And then there was the stupid smoke bomb scene. I'm like, guys, guys, this doesn't even make sense anymore.
It's like it would have cost.
Fuck you.
It would have cost like less money to get smoke bombs and just a thing of oil.
Yeah,
if that's what they wanted to do.
It's CGI.
But no, they had to be like, guys, let's show them what we can really do and make CG out of it.
Yeah, but it's like the scene itself was cool, but because of how CG that was, I'm just like, okay, what are we doing? Because now you're just trying to make something out of the scenario where you could have made this really cool action scene. No, let's make it into a dance scene with a crotch shot. Yeah, let's do that.
Vagina
dude,
cam.
The fucking the cam with fucking the one dude, it was really fucking funny. Yeah. It looked like he wasn't even like on camera, but he was at the same time. Like he wasn't even ready. Like he didn't even know he was on camera.
They did this 3 times. I'm like, why? Yeah. You could have just done this once and it would have been okay, but why 3?
Yeah.
Look, guys, complain all you want. For me, I just like to see beauty in anything.
No, I agree. Because it's fun.
Like you can like riff on the oil skating scene and like the smoke bomb scene. And I'm just thinking, wait, what the fuck? This is actually kind of like cool. I like this.
I'm riffing on it out of love.
What they're doing here.
I'm riffing on it out of love because I think it's so much fun. Like especially,
I think
again, watching it and William of all people breaking down, being like, "What the fuck am I watching?" That made it so worth watching.
I should have seen that. I really wanted to have seen that because I've never witnessed it.
It's like a movie where like people can sleep to movies. I just cannot sleep to this one. Like my eyes were like opened the entire time because I was not ready for what was next.
Okay, well, counterpoint. Let me stop you. Let me object you real quick. Your phone died and you missed like 10 minutes of it or something like that.
Yeah, no, I feel like I didn't miss anything. I feel like if I left, I wouldn't miss anything.
I love.
Well, you did miss. You did miss the twist that Bryan Cranston was actually our Kelly's fake dad.
I love that when he got kicked out.
And he's also the big bad.
Yeah, I love that.
The movie.
I love that when Nevermore got like kicked out of the call, and you guys were instantly just like, "Don't worry, his phone died." And then he came back, and you were like, "Did your phone die?" And he immediately was like, "Yes."
Yeah. Hell,
it's
this
always the
happens a
same
lot in our
reason.
Discord server.
Here's the thing: Nevermore is not a man of excuses. When you know he disconnects and he doesn't say anything, it's 99% chance because of that. Unless he absolutely says something, even if it's just a slight bit of text. If he does that, then you know it's something else. But if he says nothing, if he can't say anything, then yeah, it's literally just because his phone died.
Yeah, someone could shoot me, and I'd be like silent for a year, and then people are like, "Yeah, his phone probably died for a while. Yeah, I'll be back."
My life battery died. It's all good now. No charging.
But yeah, no. Any critique that I make about this movie, it's not about the idea; it's about how they executed said idea. Because a lot of the ideas of Argylle were actually really good and original. I like how they did it. I just don't like how they did it.
Yeah,
I just want to know like what they spent money on.
This could work. Part of me thought this could work better as an animated film.
It could have.
Because
this would look a lot better.
This is a $200 million movie, and recent example, Sonic 3 was like, I think 120 million, and that movie did a lot better with the CGI.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh.
And then I don't know what the fuck Argylle was doing with their money, and I really want to know now.
I think
they actually filmed at places.
Well,
they just use CGI for like the setting.
Yeah, I feel like in Argylle's case, I think it is that cast, because we keep mentioning the cast is really stacked. Like you see some of these actors, you're just like, how did they get them? But then you look at the budget, and if it's $200 million, it's like, okay, I would like to imagine a lot of that went into the cast.
Yeah,
right.
That's the worst part, because like you got Bryan Cranston, Samuel L. Jackson, you've got Owen Wilson. Actually, it's not Owen Wilson. I just keep forgetting.
Yeah, you keep saying it's Owen Wilson. It's Sam Rockwell, but yeah, continue.
I know. I did that like because I got mixed up genuinely when I first watched the film. But I realized it was Sam Rockwell, so I just stuck with it because it was funny.
Yeah.
Also, because he sounds a lot like Owen Wilson in that film.
You girls were in high school. Could have fooled me.
Which character was Rockwell?
He was the main guy. He was the guy who we first see him on the train. He has like the long hair, but then he shaves later in the movie.
And then he doesn't have long hair.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Sam Rockwell.
There's a lot about how Sam speaks where I'm like, you could literally throw in Owen Wilson instead, and it would still like the delivery and sound would still be relatively the same.
Oh. I can't believe we didn't mention this yet, but the blinking scenes. You also remember that?
Do not. So, I will take over this fucking podcast.
I think the funniest part of that when we were watching is when every time, because apparently when she blinks, she saw fucking Argylle in that man.
Yeah.
And I was over here like, take some fucking eye drops. Stop blinking.
No, because the blinking transitions were just so obnoxious.
Yes.
I'm like, pick which one you want to focus on. You could switch to it every like 30 to 40 seconds, not every 15.
Yeah.
Oh my
it was
God.
weird because so every time every time you see Sam Rockwell fighting somebody, and then she would blink and it would change to Henry Cavill as Argylle fighting somebody. And it's like, okay, that's cute for like the first few times, but it kept doing it throughout the movie. And it's like, okay, do you just genuinely have schizophrenia? Like, this is obnoxious.
Yeah, we're not going to say that.
They spent money on Henry, so they had to get him in somehow.
Yeah.
Right. They had to like use up the budget that they put in for this guy because they were like, well, we got to put him in somehow if he's a fictional thing. Because like they used it for like transitioning from scene to scene. They used it for transitioning between Sam Rockwell and Henry Cavill during the fighting scenes. They also did it during that one mirror scene. I'm like, can you please just find a better way to do this?
Yeah.
You could even have like that side panel where it's like, you like to the side where Henry Cavill is like on the other side and whatnot, instead of having to blink every time.
I mean, you could also just like actually put some effort into the way the camera moves, or like you move the camera and then it's a different and then it's the different actor. Like I'm thinking back on the movie Last Night in Soho, which is not a very good movie, but that is an Edgar Wright film, and a lot of the camera work in that movie is actually fucking phenomenal when it's changing, like, because Anya Taylor-Joy is a character back in the 60s, and then there's this girl in the future who's like, you know, looking at it through her memories. So then you see her experience the things that Anya Taylor-Joy is experiencing. So it'll switch between Anya Taylor-Joy and the other actress, and it's actually done pretty fucking well because Edgar Wright actually knows how to direct a movie and make it look interesting. Whereas here, all they do is just blink, different actor, blink, different actor, blink, different actor.
Yeah, they just rely on transitions in order to be able to get the scenes like flipping back and forth, rather than actually using some camera work in order to make it a little more interesting. Like as you go on, like
it gets
like
obnoxious.
you said, for the train scene, I can see how it makes sense. Maybe do it just a little bit less frequently. But some of those, I'm like, like I said before, like in the bathroom scene, you could have had Henry Cavill on one side of the mirror and the girl on the other side in order to show them like kind of communicating, rather than just a one-way camera blinking and then it's just the other actor. I'm like, this feels like a Paramount series rather than a movie.
Yeah, it's very lazy, and it's
like supposed to mean.
Well,
Knuckles.
Knuckles.
Oh no, you do not rip on my boy Ray Ripple like that.
Flames of disaster.
You said flames of disaster. That was like a $1 million line.
Well, more so because like when he like a slight side tangent, when they were talking to each other in the one bowling alley scene with Knuckles' dad and Wade, they just
Knuckles' dad.
I don't fucking remember his name. I didn't watch the show, but it was old Knuckles, whatever his name is, and the way that I saw is that they just transitioned back and forth between two different camera angles between Wade and him. I'm like, why isn't this in the same? Like they're in the same room, in the same part of the room. Why are we not doing a camera thing here? We're just.
I was gonna be mad that you were gonna like. I was gonna be mad to say like you're upset the fact that like they cut from him being CG to fucking Muppet. I'm like, no, you can't tell me that was not funny.
No, that was funny.
Being a Muppet.
But I understand what you're saying. The filmmaking at hand is very cheap, even though this movie is $200 million. It's like,
yeah, it's kind of back to the same point.
Yeah, it shouldn't just be the same filmmaking techniques, like the most basic filmmaking techniques, the most basic camera angles. For a $200 million movie, you would expect something with a little bit more pizzazz. But no, it's just actors who are very expensive to get, plastering CGI everywhere to make it look fine, but actually makes it look worse. And then the camera angles are just so lame and static, and none of it is actually interesting.
If I wanted to see something like this, I would have just gone to see Asteroid City again.
Asteroid City is a good movie, yeah.
Real.
I know.
Right, yeah.
Like, it's not one of Wes Anderson's best, but the fact that it's a better movie, even though it's one of the director's not as good movies, I mean, that just shows you how much talent Wes Anderson has and how bad Argylle is.
Well, and it uses the similar plot device of having a lot of different names but doing simple things, but you actually like put in the effort to put like it felt like a play. Oh yeah, and that's what it was supposed to be. Whereas like Argylle's trying to like take rips at Mission Impossible to be able to make like an original spy-like movie, but then just totally falling flat.
Yes. Oh yeah, Wes Anderson is one of those directors who can use a very stacked cast and actually use them to his advantage. Same with Nolan. Like Nolan was able to prove himself with Oppenheimer, where he had an insane amount of famous people in Oppenheimer. It was insane the amount of people that were in that movie.
I was trying to fucking one up that with the Odyssey adaptation. Also, by the way, pause for a moment. He's adapting the Odyssey? This is your next work? Okay. The fuck?
I mean, if anybody's going to do it, I absolutely believe Nolan can do something with that.
I'm sure no one can pull it off, but I probably just think, man, I want another original movie, Nolan, not another adaptation. I mean, but like,
true.
Come on, please prove me you still got it. Yeah. Please prove me you can do something original that's better than Tenet. Please.
Well, my question is, how much budget did he have for Oppenheimer?
Ooh, good question. What was Oppenheimer's budget? Let me look that up.
Because that might be the big reason as to why
15 million.
No, 100 million, which is still a big amount for a studio. I mean, it's not 200 or 300 million like a lot of the bombs are. Like 100 million seems comparatively pretty modest. But again, that's Nolan as a director. Mm-hmm. He's able to use so many different characters, and it never feels confusing. It never feels too much. Like, it actually feels like every character plays a part in the story, and you're never distracted that they're famous people. You're like, no, this is the character they're supposed to be playing. That just, again, that shows you the strengths of him as a director versus Matthew Vaughn, who I don't even hate him as a director, because I actually really like some of his other work, like the first Kingsman movie and Kick-Ass. I think those are fine movies. It's just,
it does.
Yeah, no, I think the first Kingsman still holds up. I think that's a very good film, and I actually did like the first Kick-Ass. Whereas, I feel like with Argylle, this was a director for hire kind of thing where they're just like, we need somebody, get the Kingsman director. And he's like, I don't really know what you want me to do with this, but okay. And then just farts out a $200 million movie.
Well, I mean,
Is that why the bar was called Kingsman at the end?
Yes, that is that. Yes. That is exactly why. Yeah.
It all makes sense.
Find it like I find it I find it unbelievable because like Oppenheimer's budget is 100 million. Red One's budget is 253 million.
Yeah.
Red One.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about this for a second. A movie with half the amount of budget still managed to get a stat cast, had a longer run time, and had a way better plot. Now, granted, it was around history, so they had a lot more to be able to work with, and a lot of historical documents. But being able to have all of that on a lesser budget and being able to have one of the greatest, at least in my opinion, one of the greatest like historical movies I've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh, Oppenheimer's fantastic. Yeah.
It speaks like volumes beyond compare. Where I'm like, Apple, you just don't know what you're doing yet. Now I know that Apple as a direction team, they're very fucking new. Holy shit. I don't know how long Christopher Nolan's been doing this, but I just know that Apple TV is like, oh God, what? Like I want to say 6 years old only.
Yeah, I don't know when Apple TV itself started. I actually don't know. It's a good question. Maybe we should look that up.
Nolan's been doing it since 1998, my friend.
Because Apple, what?
Nolan's been doing it since 1998. That was when Fallen came out.
So Nolan's been doing this for nearly 30 years compared to Apple TV, who's only done this for 6. So I guess there is a little bit of a give and take to be compared with that. But also, Apple's a huge ass corporation. Like I don't know how they had all this budget and didn't just let the creators do what they wanted. Because part of me feels like that with Argylle, there may have been a lot of corporate control in it.
Absolutely.
In order to be able to try and get a product that in order to get a product that just had all the names that will get people in the door. But granted, Oppenheimer had that too.
Yeah.
Now it may be for a different audience too, because like I feel like Argylle was definitely for those growing into adults versus Oppenheimer, who are for like people who are already adults. Like for instance, like Josh Peck and all this stuff like that, who managed to make all those appearances, versus Argylle, who's definitely got a lot more recent names from like everyone knows Samuel L. Jackson. A lot of people have seen Breaking Bad. I don't know if anyone will really know about Sam Rockwell or whoever played R. Kelly.
But they've been around. They're actors who have been around, because Sam Rockwell's been around for a while. And Bryce Dallas Howard, who plays R. Kelly, she is the daughter of Ron Howard, the famous director of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the live action one.
And then there's the one woman who also just happened to play the mother in Beetlejuice.
Yeah, Catherine O'Hara. Well, she was also the mother in Home Alone, so she's been around. Yeah,
so she's definitely been around. So those are definitely for people of like the younger to mid generation, kind of like where I am right now, where you definitely know the names, especially like Henry Cavill. Everyone is gonna come in here because of Henry Cavill.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, I recognize him from Superman. It's like, yeah.
I mean, he's a great actor.
He can be.
He also just been in a lot of really unfortunate situations.
Oh yeah, he's been in a lot of bad movies. He is a good actor. I'll go to bat for Henry Cavill as being he can deliver a really good performance, as we'll see with Man from U.N.C.L.E. But then he chooses movies like Man of Steel and Argylle, and you're just like, dude, come on, you can do better than this.
Well, I mean, if it pays good.
I mean, yeah, he obviously does it for paychecks, but it's just like, come on, man, you're so much better than this.
You should be a little bit more picky.
Yeah, well, still. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can't actually remember what I was gonna say. It was like I used to see like someone. I can see someone else fitting the mid ground for this movie, because this is definitely more like comedic based and stuff like that, where you're trying to be able to phone it in more. And there's a lot of actors out there where phoning it in is really kind of their style. It's not to say that their performances are phoned in; they just know how to pull off phoned in a lot better. Because that's what that whole mid segment is of, like, with Henry Cavill, John Cena. Like John Cena is the perfect example of he knows how to be able to sound like he's phoning in a performance rather than it actually being a phoned in performance. Whereas Henry Cavill, like, you deserve better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You deserve better performances than what you got in this.
I see what you mean. Yeah. Some actors, even when you can tell they're phoning it in, can still come across as very charismatic and likable, whereas some can't.
I just looked it up on Wikipedia. The writer of this movie is named Jason Fucks.
Insane.
Jason Fucks the movie. up.
It's like you know Fred Fox, right?
I've heard of Fred Fox.
That's that AVGN bit.
Yeah.
It's like spelled like that, FUCHS.
Yeah.
Fred Fox.
Oh, incredible. Trying to think if there's anything really major that we want to also mention about Argylle, because if not, we can get into our closing thoughts now.
I kind of want to like go depth into my perspective of it.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. So honestly, when I came into this, I had no idea what this movie was like about exactly. I had no idea what to expect.
Mhm.
When I looked at the poster, part of me just thought, oh, this is gonna be like, someone tells me this is like Knives Out, but with like spy shit or something like that, right?
Mhm.
It's gonna be like, I don't know, it's like, that's what I was expecting. I don't know, it's like, I don't know, that the plaid design thing with the background, I don't know what was up with that. I don't know, just gave me like something like a murder mystery vibe going on in a mansion again. Like it was trying to be Knives Out or something like that. But despite that, I liked how like it started off with like, following the Argylle story. Like we're following along with the character. Like, okay, this is like the actual plot. Like we're focusing on Argylle. He's an actual agent, and we're gonna focus on him. Like the actual character is gonna be focused on him, right? And then I found out like, oh, this is a story within a story because with Ellie being a writer, she's writing the stories of Argylle,
Mhm.
and part of me is thinking, oh, okay, this is gonna be interesting. And I thought like during like the scene where like him kissing this girl in the fireworks and then like everything like froze. Part of me just and he was like breaking the fourth wall for a moment. I'm just thinking, okay, so this is James Bond mixed with Deadpool. I like where this is going. This is I kind of like that idea. I like the idea. It's like, okay, so we have an A plot where we're focused on the Argylle story, and then we have the B plot where we focus on the writer and how they want to tell the story, and we're probably she's gonna have a sexual crisis trying to figure out how they want to write the story and how they want to end it. Or just like we're just gonna see growth in the character and just see how she plays out the whole story, something like that. Like, okay, this is gonna be interesting. I like this. I like that we have focus on the Argylle story, and then it's like that kind of trope. Then like I want to say like 20 minutes later, and then it fucking like like the entire plot changes and then subverts my expectations when we're on the train scene. And it's like, this isn't focused on Argylle. Like, the writer is actually like the main focus here. And then she's warped into this world of spy shit. And because, she's technically like an agent that she forgot about. And I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. I'm following along with you here. I like the other premise. I was thinking I had more. That could have been, fun. I would have liked that instead of just making it complicated, because it's just like, what the fuck were you guys doing with that? You guys like barely did any of the fantasy shit with Argylle, and so it's like we see that. We get the beginning of it, and like in the middle of it when they're in like London or something like that, and then like near the end, and it's just, wow, you guys didn't do much of that fantasy stuff I was hoping for. John Cena, you got John Cena for like 5 minutes of screen time. That's it? Are you kidding me? That's your usage with him? Okay, sure, whatever. And Bryan Cranston is the big bad. Obviously, I always like seeing Bryan Cranston in anything, so I'll take whatever. But yeah, and then like the whole twist is like, oh yeah, he's fake father, and he manipulated Ellie to thinking like, oh, you're a writer. And you were no agent. Oh, here's this super spooky hypnosis video. Ooh, scary. So it's just, I don't know. I feel like the plot like changes every like it just switches up and just doesn't know what it wants to be. But like it doesn't confuse the fuck out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Like this feels like a Nolan movie with like M. Night Shyamalan twists.
I could see that. Yeah, like kind of like somebody seeing a Nolan and a Shyamalan movie and thinking, I can do that, and then they do that, but just by combining what they feel they can get out of both of those directors' styles without really understanding why those directors' styles work for them, Yeah.
The Nolan, I feel like with Nolan twists, it's definitely like the fact that, oh yeah, Ellie was an agent and she forgot about it, and it has all this timey-wimey memory stuff that I'm used to in Nolan's works,
mm-hmm.
Especially when like especially going in like a mixed order of how the story's told, either being Oppenheimer or Memento. Guess that's why I kind of like jokingly kind of compared this to Memento earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I gotta mention Memento. Yeah. It's a Robyn episode. I had to mention Memento.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, and then of course, but all the other shit is just like, oh yeah, this is just stupid twists. Shyamalan would just come up out of his ass because Shyamalan twist is just whatever.
Well, because like Shyamalan did have it, yeah, his career is built off of having that big twist at the end that really makes you think about the movie as a whole, which that worked for Sixth Sense and that worked in Unbreakable. But then it started becoming like, oh, now every movie has to have a twist, regardless if it makes sense or not. Meaning we get a lot of the later Shyamalan movies, which are fucking dog shit. Sometimes they're really funny. Sometimes they're just some of the worst shit you've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it's a shame because, you know, you can still have a movie with a twist. It's just that it feels like a lot of movies want to put it in because they want that same sensation that The Sixth Sense had back in 1999. But it's like, you can't just, you know, copy that style. You need to actually make it so that it makes sense within the context of the movie. And a lot of movies don't really understand that. They're just like, there's a huge reveal at the end of the movie. And yeah, that's it. That's all you need. It's like, no, you need more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I feel like this just makes fun of it because there's so many twists. Like, don't stop coming. I feel like they're just like making fun of it.
It gets
in a way. I know like that's
excessive.
not the idea, but like it feels like that.
Yeah, it gets excessive after a while. Excessive is definitely the word I would use to describe the twists in this movie. It's like this is comical after a while.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's trying to be serious. I think it's just trying to parody like spy flicks and stuff. And I feel like that's what it's going for. Then like, yeah, okay, yeah,
I don't know.
I get what you're going with it.
And maybe if this was a flat out comedy, I would probably understand that. But I feel like it is trying to be a little more serious. I don't know. I guess maybe the tone is also a little up in the air, where it's just like, okay, is this meant to be a flat out comedy, like absurdist comedy? That's fine. It can totally be that. I'm all for that. It's just, is that actually what the movie's going for? And is it doing that justice? Is it doing that tone justice?
Yeah.
Because
I like for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I just think like, I mean, this could have been like written better. I think like the idea of that we have like all the fantasy spy shit going on with Argylle's character, and then we have like the real life stuff with like Ellie's character. I feel like it would just fit more. We just have better focus on it. Just have like a better focus on all this other stuff piled onto it.
Sure.
You can just keep all the other dumb spy stuff into the Argylle fantasy, and just like, and like I said, just like have like Ellie just like go through like she's going through a writer's block. Like she doesn't know how to go forward with, you know, wanting to like write their story, like how to make it interesting, and just like, you know, like try to become successful with it. Just like that was kind of this is like a possible like what if they're like this is what Argylle was like this.
It does a lot of things to the point where it's like, what are we trying to do here? Like, it like I don't know what it's going for half the time, because like on one hand, I can see it being like a parody, but the other hand, it's like, are you guys actually like trying to be serious, or like what?
I kind of wish it was like a parody, because like I said, I like the idea like this guy's just James Bond mixed with Deadpool.
Yeah,
I think if it was a parody, it would have worked better.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, because I mean, like you could tell exactly what it's trying to mimic and what it's trying to be able to take a jab at in order to be able to make a better joke. Like, you know, the Mission Impossible film, I forget exactly which one it was, where they literally went dark because they were betrayed, so they had to be able to like go and do some shit in order to be able to save the day. I can't remember which one it was where they had to like actually go in with like no resources and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I can tell that they were trying to take a jab at that, but then they just wanted to do so many plot twists. They wanted to do so many things because they thought it would be cool for the plot, that they just decided, well, if we can't choose on one of them, we got the money. Why don't we just do all of them? Like, that's bad writing.
Just throw whatever at the wall and see what sticks. And even if the stuff doesn't stick, use it anyway. Yeah.
And honestly, like, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying that, like, I was just gonna say, like, if you did like one or two of these things at points of the movie where like it's spaced out enough, that would work great. But and then eventually, like halfway through the film is just boom, 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 boom. I'm like, okay, like the second half of the film was literally just plot twists.
Yeah.
And I wanted to like point out, like, normally for me, I know like one big issue is like the big use, the excessive uses of CG here. Normally, I could never like. I mean, it's like, all right, if you use CG, that's fine. I'm not gonna nitpick it like most people are. I'm easy to please anyway. But then I saw the cat in CG. I'm like, oh god, it's that fucking bad. I understand it now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've seen worse CG.
Oh yeah,
Space
absolutely.
Jam.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's worse than Space Jam.
That one Beauty and the Beast. No, not Beauty. No, fucking Little Mermaid.
Oh,
That one Little Mermaid with the music box, and then James is going, "Oh, that's bad CG. That's bad CG in the Mermaid."
Oh, that's right.
Little
Yeah,
Mermaid.
Little Mermaid 3. Yeah. I mean, also the Little Mermaid
Yeah.
remake has some pretty horrendous CGI, but oh yeah, the CGI in Little Mermaid 3 is
I mean, like the thing about it is like for Argylle, the CG is just so bad. I'm like, I'm surprised you're not using 5th gen CG for how bad this movie is. Because have you ever heard of CG5?
I go into that a little.
Sorry.
I actually have.
Get the fuck out! I hate you for that.
Wow. You're horrible. No, I'm just kidding.
There's been too many movies, and I hope you hate it.
No! The podcast is over, guys.
We haven't even gotten to Men from Uncle yet.
Oh, yeah, we should get to that.
We're never getting the man from Uncle at this rate. We have never. With these two clowns in my corner,
No, this
they're
is.
gonna throw me down.
At least we watched Man from Uncle before doing this.
Yeah. No. I'm absolutely loving how unpredictable this episode is. So that's totally fine.
Oh yeah, no. If anything, if I've learned from these two, mostly Nevermore, they are the definition of never let them know your next move.
Yeah, exactly.
Sour cream and onion ruffles.
Nevermore does it way better than I do, though. I will say that.
What did you say?
Sour cream and onion ruffles.
They're good. Those are good.
I like them.
Those are good. I could go for them right now.
Yeah.
You know what else sounds pretty good right now?
Also, I think one more little nitpick. You know what made these fights? You know what made that train fight scene better, ZB?
What?
Needed Freebird.
Oh yeah, we need.
Then you wouldn't. Then you.
Freebird.
Oh, you gotta make
Then
an
you
edit of
wouldn't
that.
so much.
That's an edit you should do.
Oh, dude, yeah, get on that.
Don't tempt me. Anyway.
Also, I can take fucking Star Wars transitions than Blink transitions any day of the week now.
Oh, but the Star Wars transitions are like really cool. Like they're cute, you know?
Yeah. There are, yeah.
Now picture that in Argylle.
I'd love
It
that.
would be 10 times better.
That would have been 10. It would have been 10 out of 10.
I would love
And
that.
peak.
I'd love George Lucas wipes being in Argylle. That'd be awesome.
You think George Lucas could direct Argylle?
Good
I don't
question.
know.
They do go to the desert at one point, so they would include sand.
I don't know how well Argylle would work on a Disney budget.
Oof.
At Disney
Oh
Corp.
no.
But
no.
It'd be like be a musical.
I don't know if Disney would give it a chance, you know, because Disney loves like very specific things.
And they gave the damn chicken a chance. Like, bro.
What?
Chicken Little.
Who?
Oh
no.
But I love Chicken Little.
ZB, you not watch movies? ZB, you don't watch
You
movies.
did?
What do you mean? I loved that when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's nostalgic.
Okay, as a kid, that's
You know what I did love as a kid? Argylle,
looking back on it.
1985 movie.
If you were to look back on it now, you'd think, "Oh yeah, this is shit."
Yeah, but I mean, I'm also guilty of being nostalgic for Chicken Little, dude. I mean, one little slip, that shit was a banger.
Same here.
See how it gets it.
Yeah.
I also get it. I almost think you liked it in this day and age. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. No.
I don't like it anymore. I mean, I'm
I
nostalgic
need to
for it.
rewatch it.
Oh, well,
That's what.
yeah.
I need to rewatch it.
You should
And you know
rewatch
what?
it with friends. It's actually really fun with friends.
Oh yeah. Actually, you know what? To be fair, I'm gonna be frank. I was nostalgic for Kermit Swamp Year, so it's like
I mean,
No,
yeah.
you're
I get
Robyn.
that. I hate it, but like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But I kind of grew up with this, so it's like I can't help but defend it a little.
There's a lot of movies I watched as a kid that, as an adult, I love wholeheartedly, no matter how many flaws they have. But then there's some where I'm like, I can't even defend this, man. This is just too much.
Yeah.
It's like as if Chicken Little's kind of the thing where it's like Disney and Studio Trigger came together to make a film.
Yeah.
Oh no. Why?
alien plot.
No, you're supposed to say because trigger. God damn it,
I mean-
Steven.
Because trigger.
Oh, now it makes sense.
You guys
No,
have
it doesn't.
nostalgia for that?
No, it doesn't.
My childhood was Argylle, the 2011 documentary.
Really? Really?
That's a real thing.
I'm sure it
Fucking
is.
trilogy.
Yeah, the
It's
Argylle
sure.
Trilogy.
You do not want to look into. You do not want to look in the group chat.
On.
Is there?
In fact, you mentioned it being a musical. It was funny. I think one of us earlier said it should have been like a stage play. I'm like, yeah, make it a musical. I'd watch that on stage.
Yeah, you know what? There's nothing. Look, the things we see get turned into musicals later on, and years later from a movie happening. I wouldn't be surprised if someday we get an Argylle musical. That'd be fun to see.
I would slop that up.
That
Yeah.
would just be funny.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that Hades Town Pro show.
I think I'm done talking about Argylle.
I think I am too. I just want,
Yeah.
before we get into the next movie, the way we always end off conversations on movies on this podcast is we come to the conclusion of, would we add this to our collection? So I'll start and I'll say there isn't a Blu-ray release for this movie, so I can't add it to my collection. But
Y'all, Apple, what are you doing? Get on that.
I have added it to my Vudu collection. I have it digitally
Fuck yeah.
in my digital library of movies. So that's cool. But yeah, if they ever make an Argylle Blu-ray, I will absolutely add it to the collection because it is a funny bad movie. It's just at the moment there does not exist one.
Universal, Apple, whoever the fuck in charge. I know Universal. I know you distributed this. I looked it up on Wikipedia. Get on that.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? I need this Blu-ray now. Now.
You should make this a Blu-ray now.
Make it now. Like right now. Like instantly. Get off of your shit. Stop doing that. Make it now. I'm going to the store later. If it's not there, I might cause 9/11 again. I might permit.
Okay,
I might
what?
Manhattan again.
What? Now I know that sounds bad.
Welcome, Jinx.
Good times are had by all.
Yeah.
So, anyways, A Man from Uncle.
Yeah. So as
What
I've said,
about a girl from Ant.
as I've said, this is a podcast about my movie collection, going through all the movies I own on DVD, Blu-ray, occasional VHS tape, and I just so happen to have The Man from Uncle on Blu-ray. And the reason I wanted to pair it with Argylle is I realized, hey, Argylle was a spy movie that stars Henry Cavill. Why not watch a different spy movie that stars Henry Cavill in the form of The Man from Uncle, which I have on Bluray?
You know, I didn't realize that until like near the end.
Yeah.
They're like, oh wait, this is the same actor.
Yeah, it's the same actor, Henry Cavill, Superman.
Okay, I remember when we were watching Argylle, like you guys like called him Superman. I'm like, oh, Christopher Reeves.
Yeah, no, it's Henry Cavill.
Without
Henry Cavill. I keep
without
saying
saying that, we were talking about.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight.
Without realizing you were talking about the Snyder Superman.
Yes,
And I'm like,
yes.
oh,
So Henry Cavill.
I forgot that
is-
existed.
I would say Henry Cavill is definitely most famous from what we know him of for being Superman in Man of Steel, BVS, the Snyder cut / Joss Whedon version of Justice League. I almost blanked on the name of the movies, but they're that forgettable. But obviously he's known as being Superman in those movies. He's not very good as Superman in those movies, unfortunately, which sucks because
I don't even blame him for that. But...
I know, I don't blame him at all. It's not his fault because Henry Cavill is actually a very good actor. It's Zack Snyder. I mean, let's be real here. But
Yeah.
I will say, after watching The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and I watched it in theaters in 2015, I realized, oh no, he can definitely do a good Superman because in Man from U.N.C.L.E., he plays this suave, likable American spy. And it's like, oh, he could totally pull off a good Superman. He just doesn't. He's just this boring, unlikable, miserable character in Man of Steel, BVS. Like, I've never seen him as Superman where I'm just like, that is my Superman. And it's such a shame because he played it so well in a movie that's not a Superman movie. He proved to me he could be Superman.
Yeah. It's weird seeing like actors about like how like they do great in this one role, but in, like a big role, like I don't know, I feel like Superman, like they just can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know.
Yeah, it sucks, but you know,
just down to how it's made and why.
Sure. Yeah, of course. But yeah, Man from Uncle. Like I said, I saw this in theaters. I've always wanted to show people this. I feel like it's not that nobody knows about it. People definitely know about it, but it's not that popular. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, it came out in 2015, and 2015 was kind of a turning point for for what we know of movies nowadays. I feel like that really was a kind of a turning point because that was the year we had two major Marvel movies, Jurassic World, Mad Max Fury Road, and fucking Star Wars The Force Awakens. Like, it was a huge year for movies. Now, you can kind of debate on whether those movies are actually any good. I mean, a lot of people love Mad Max Fury Road for good reason. It's a really good movie. But then you have stuff like Age of Ultron and Ant-Man, Jurassic World and Force Awakens, which are kind of up in the air over whether people actually like them. Regardless of that, they were enormous hits back in 2015. And so you had all these movie events. Nobody really gave a shit about The Man from U.N.C.L.E. It's like, what is this? A spy thriller? Who cares? Like, we don't care. And I think that's also to the point that Man from U.N.C.L.E. is based off of a previous IP, same as Mad Max, Star Wars.
Yeah, it was like
Marvel.
an old like 60s TV series.
Yes, it's an old So the movies that were big hits that year were stuff like Star Wars, Jurassic Park sequel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Mad Max, and Mad Max Fury Road, which even though it was based off of a previous IP, Mad Max Fury Road became its own thing where now people are just like, holy shit, this is Mad Max, but to another level. And so it became its own thing, and now it's seen as like, you know, an action classic all on its own.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, these are incredibly popular IPs, even to this day. I mean, you can argue whether Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Marvel, and Mad Max are in a good state anymore. Not really, but, you know, that's for a conversation for a different time. But back in the day, and especially nowadays, they're still very popular. Whereas The Man from U.N.C.L.E., you know, how many of you guys know about the Man from U.N.C.L.E. TV series from the 60s?
Oh, God. You said 60s, and then my brain just fried.
I don't even know about it. I've never seen it. I've never watched an episode.
No, I've never watched it. I've heard of it before. I may have seen like my dad watch it like once or like a couple of times, like a long time ago or something like that.
Yeah,
like a bunch of other shows. Like I also thought this was like the same. I thought this was like the same series that had like the one intro where it's just this guy going through a bunch of like cellar vault doors. And I'm just thinking, no, wait, that's the intro to Get Smart.
Okay, Get Smart. Yeah, another spy show from like the 60s.
Yeah,
spies were kind of the shit
that's the only thing I know about Get Smart. It's just like, oh, it's like the intro and outro just has like this guy just going through a bunch of vault doors.
Right.
It just goes on and on.
That's funny.
And I thought that was The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and I forgot. No, wait, no, that's the wrong show.
That's just the movie.
Yeah. So obviously not a very popular IP, even though it is based off of something. So I think is a shame that this was never really going to be a huge hit, but even though it wasn't a huge hit financially and it didn't get a sequel, you know, watching the movie 10 years later being like, okay, does it hold up? I'd say it does, because I think it is a very solid spy thriller that is, yes, based off of a previous IP that exists, but even if you don't know about that IP, like, again, none of us know about The Man from U.N.C.L.E., we've never watched an episode, we can still get something out of this movie. Like, it's kind of like The Fall Guy. Did you guys see that last year?
The one with Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling movie, yeah. That is also based.
You mean the game with the funny Among Us people?
No, it's
Fall Guys.
no, Fall Guy. No, the Fall Guy was that Ryan Gosling movie about the stunt performer. That is based off of an actual TV show from the late 20th century. I want to say 80s, 70s. I don't remember, but I've never. Again, another thing. I've never seen the original. But even still, I still got something out of that movie because it was just a fine movie all on its own. This is the same thing. Even if you know nothing about the original Man from U.N.C.L.E. series, you could still get something out of this movie because it's just a very solid spy thriller. And It's not too flashy. It's not like the greatest spy movie we've ever seen. It's much more coherent than something like Argylle because, yes, it does have twists and turns, but not to the degree that Argylle had it, where it got comedically excessive after a while. It is actually twists that enhance and progress the story in a very natural way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've never wanted to say this is like the greatest movie ever made because I feel like that would go a little too far, where it's just like, no, it's just a very solid movie. And I just want more people to find it, just want more people to watch it because it's like, yeah, it's just a very likable, very solid movie that kind of snuck its way into the culture, that just kind of snuck its way into theaters in 2015 and then just kind of left, but is still out there for people to watch. So I really enjoyed it the second time. No, this would be my third time because I watched it in theaters. I watched it when I logged it on Letterboxd a couple years back, and then now watching it for the podcast, this would be my third time. So yeah, it still holds up after 3 watches.
Yep. I mean, fuck, I lost my train of thought. I know when I was watching it, like I had no idea I knew about the show. I didn't know what it was about exactly until like near the very end. Like I was reading this synopsis on Wikipedia. I'm just like, oh, okay, I see what goes on here. And with the way it ends, like, oh, this is how it all starts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is how like this duo meets because it's basically focused on this American spy and this Russian spy.
Yes.
And it's like,
Right.
oh, I just figured that's just kind of like the plot of this guy's character. He's like, he's teamed up with this Russian spy. It's like, oh, no, wait, no. These guys are both the main characters in the actual show. And then that's where they drop the name Uncle. I'm like, oh, this is where it all begins. Okay,
Yeah.
Now I understand what's going on here.
Yeah, so the ending does kind of tease a sequel, not excessively like something like Argylle would or a modern MCU movie would, where it's just like, it makes it so painfully obvious where it's just like, look, another thing is coming. It kind of ends a little more subtly where it's just like, yeah, you have a new mission. And it's like, it's more so implied like, oh, they're going to go on, more adventures. And it's like, you don't have to see more adventures from them because you had a solid enough time in this movie. It's like, oh, maybe we can do another sequel.
The TV show exists. So like, if this is your introduction to it, it's just like, okay, yeah, just follow along after this with the TV show. I think it would just all start from there.
That's a good point too. Even if they never made a sequel, they never did make a sequel because this didn't do well financially enough to warrant another movie made for it. But yeah, you have the original series. You can go and like get more adventures with that.
At least it's not littered with corporate greed.
I mean, you can see some aspects of corporate greed because again, you have very famous actors, and it's like, yeah, they're only here because they're famous, but they play their parts very well. I think Henry Cavill is really good as the American spy, even though he's a British actor. He plays this American spy really well. He's very suave, very likable. It's an entertaining performance. And then you have Armie Hammer, an American actor playing a Soviet spy. Again, good actor. I think Armie Hammer, I've never been a huge Armie Hammer fan. He can obviously be good and stuff, but he can also be kind of not as good in other stuff. But like, I feel like he does do a very good job as the Soviet spy. He's like this big hulking dude because he's like really tall, and it's a very interesting character. I really like the way he plays it. He's also a lot of fun.
That's true.
Yeah, when I first heard about this movie, I was like, all right, this is probably a bad movie because Man from Uncle. And then I actually watched it, and then I was like, wait a minute. It's not that bad.
Yeah. Again, it didn't do well financially back in 2015. Again, I already explained why, because it just didn't have the same hook that something like Star Wars or the MCU would have had. So a lot of people are just like, we don't really care for this. And I get it, not every movie's going to make $1 billion. That's just asking way too much of people. But, that's why I always say, like, even if a movie doesn't do well financially or it doesn't do well in theaters, I think people should still seek these movies out after, like, once they're on streaming or once they're available to rent for like home viewing. It's like, no, actually go out and watch these movies. They're pretty good. And yeah, you're going to get something like this, which is, even though you didn't see it in theaters, you still get something really fun out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can also appreciate that in this movie, I'm not saying like huge actors. Like some of them are probably like big, but like they're not like my to my knowledge. So
I mean, yeah,
There's
I'm
not
glad, like-
Bryan Cranston.
yeah. There's
I'm
no
glad,
Bryan
like-
Cranston.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this list. Like Henry Cavill's like the only one I can recognize. Everyone
Yeah.
else is like,
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
know
glad
who these
we're-
people are.
Well, so
I'm glad we're getting.
Armie Hammer was famous at one point. He obviously isn't anymore because of like I don't know. He had some like abuse allegations and also like cannibal allegations.
Oh God,
I don't remember specifics.
what allegations?
Cannibal. Apparently, he like allegedly ate people, but like that has never been proven.
Whoa,
I don't know.
the fuck?
I don't know. I just remember there was a point where they were trying to cancel Armie Hammer, and then he was something about cannibals got brought up a lot, and I don't know if it was because he ate somebody or if he was like associated with like a cannibal cult or whatever. I don't know. I don't know the full story. Don't take everything I say with a grain of salt. Just look it up on your own time. I'm sure there's something weird there, but
Okay then.
you don't see a lot of Armie Hammer anymore. I mean, probably because he wasn't a very good person. Good actor, but yeah, maybe it's best.
I don't know. I'm looking on Wikipedia. He said Hammer returned into acting in 2024.
Okay, well there you go.
After cannibalism allegations.
I guess we'll see our Man from Uncle 2. But yeah, then you have Alicia Vikander, who plays the main woman in the movie, Miss Teller. She's not terribly famous, but she's been in some stuff. She was in Ex Machina. She was in Ex Machina is the only good thing I can remember her being in, but Ex Machina, good movie. I highly recommend that. But Hugh Grant is in this movie, which was awesome. I love Hugh Grant, even when he's in a terrible movie like Heretic. Like, holy shit, he's a really charismatic actor. Even in this, he doesn't play a huge role in this movie, but man, oh man,
It's a noticeable one.
yeah, he's really
Probably because
like
he's playing it.
yeah, because he's just like, oh yes, I'm the British intelligence agent, and he just has this really funny demeanor to himself. It's a very entertaining performance, even if he's not on screen for that long. You're just man, you make this movie a lot more fun.
I mean, hey, in my opinion, at least it's better than the performance that he had in Dungeons and Dragons, the movie.
Oh, I never saw that, but yeah, ugh.
He was in that.
I thought that movie was fine.
Yeah.
It's like it's a
Oh,
fun
he's in
movie,
Glass
but
Onion.
it's just like, here's the thing. I'll put it like this: the Dungeons and Dragons movie, I didn't see a lot of, but I can also easily tell that Dungeons and Dragons would have worked as a better movie if you had even if you took away, it would work better if you took away the Dungeons and Dragons IP and didn't try and force that in, because it works well as its own plot, but it doesn't work well as Dungeons and Dragons. I'm just like, you don't really have a lot of elements of D&D actually in the thing. It's just like a D&D campaign that you happen to adapt into a movie. But take away D&D, and you've got your own original plot with Chris Pine and all these amazing actors that would have probably done better just not having it.
Interesting.
Oh wait, I found a role that I know him for.
Oh yeah.
He was the main pirate in Pirates Adventures with Scientists.
Right. Yeah. He was also the main villain in Paddington too. Unless you haven't seen Paddington.
Oh yeah,
yet.
it says right here.
Yeah.
He was also in Glass Onion.
Yeah,
I know I've seen that.
He had a cameo in Glass Onion. He was like,
yeah, it's listed as a cameo.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I haven't seen the first one, and like I've seen Glass Onion, but it's been a hot minute.
Yeah. Robyn, I wanted to bring this up because I don't know if you've noticed this, but one of the main female leads in Man from Uncle, Elizabeth Debicki.
Oh God.
Yeah. So the tall blonde lady in the movie, do you recognize her from a certain movie?
I'm looking at her at Wikipedia.
Okay.
I don't want to look at the filmography because I don't want to spoil it for me. But like,
Okay.
part of me wants to say yes, but it's like I don't know exactly.
Okay.
It's a fucking Nolan movie, isn't it? I swear to God.
It's not just a Nolan movie.
No. I swear to God. Fucking damn it. God, fucking damn it.
Is it Memento?
No.
That's me finding out. That's me finding out the towers.
I ain't said it.
Oh God, the amount of leave counters for this particular episode is literally 0, 0, 2, 0.
Robyn, turn on the news. They hit the Pentagon. It's like, no,
they hit the Tenet.
Robyn, turn on the news. It's like, no, fuck that. They fucked up Tenet. Fuck this movie.
No, fuck that. Fuck the Pentagon right now. Nolan just made a mid movie. Something that should have never happened in 30 years of his fucking filming career. He made a bad movie. I'm killing myself.
Mr. President, a second Tenet actor has appeared.
Robyn, a second actor has appeared in Tenet.
Oh God, yeah, who? Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. Oh my God.
Robert Pattinson is in Tenet.
Yes. What I was gonna say about the actors is that I like that they're not using all these major actors, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why they made Samuel Jackson in the movie. Like, I love him, but I just don't think he fits in the movie.
I agree. Yeah, he feels very out of place in Argylle.
When he showed up, I was like half joking when I said, "Oh, what if Will Ferrell showed up next?" And I was like, actually, like, oh wait, he actually could be knowing what the fuck we're seeing.
Yeah, exactly.
Now if they got Keith David.
Oh hell, nah, Keith David, I would have ascended.
Yeah,
that's what I made the movie.
Joke of this episode is just mentioning Keith David.
Mentioning Keith David. Yeah,
Nevermore.
Yeah,
yeah.
But
I just think actors like who aren't major deserve more like screen time or like time to shine.
Well, even then,
it's funny that you were bringing up that Will Ferrell would show up, because I was thinking, did he like star in like? Because I know there was a Get Smart like film that came out in 2008, and like I feel like he would be in that. Steve Carell.
He's actually in Tenet.
Anne Hathaway, Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. But
what the fuck? Actual actors I know of?
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, Nevermore, you do bring up a good point. Because even though I would say these are known actors, all of them, because they have their names on the front cover of the Blu-ray. Yeah. But you make a good point that even though you don't recognize them, they still play the characters really well. They don't feel out of place like Sam Jackson did in Argylle, where just like, oh, they just put him in there because they wanted Sam Jackson. They're like, oh, we're just going to put Sam Jackson randomly in the movie. And he just feels out of place. You're just like, you can't see him as anybody but Samuel L. Jackson. Whereas here, I feel like you can still see these characters because there's not too many characters to keep track of. There's only a handful, and they play their parts just fine. You're just like, yeah, this makes sense why this character is here.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh my God, dude! How, dude? I just discovered something on Wikipedia here about the movie. I think it's actually very interesting that we did like make this be the duo episode for these two films, because it says here over the years Matthew Vaughn, David Dobkin, and Steven Soderbergh were optioned for directing until Ritchie signed on in March 2013.
Oh.
And did you notice one of the names I mentioned? Matthew fucking Vaughn.
Wow, I didn't do that on purpose. That's incredible. Yeah, so Matthew Vaughn was considered for the Man from U.N.C.L.E. remake. That's interesting.
Wow.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's cool.
It's all coming together.
I think it worked better though with Guy Ritchie as the director, because this was my first Guy Ritchie film. I need to watch more of his stuff.
Wow. No, actually, I wanted to bring him up because I know like it said that at the beginning of the film. When I saw that, I'm like, wait a minute, where have I heard this name before? And I looked it up. I'm like, oh, this is the guy who directs Snatch, and I just got Snatch recently on DVD because I really want to watch that movie.
Yeah, he's.
So you snatched it?
Yeah, he snatched it.
Sure. And I'm also looking at the Wikipedia. Matthew Vaughn produced Snatch.
Oh, well, look at that. Yeah, it's all connected. Yeah, Guy Ritchie's a director I've always wanted to dive into, because I feel bad because this is one of the only ones I've seen from his, and I like this one, but then he also directed the live action Aladdin movie, and well,
that's right.
Yeah.
Let's just say he did not. I was not a friend of his.
Yeah.
I was hearing like that was like one of the better ones though.
I don't know who told you that, but
no, I don't know who told you. I actually think you were possessed.
Look, I can agree that maybe it is one of the better ones. It's still dog shit. You know, it's one of those where it's just like, I can't like any of these because they're all just bad. So honestly, anybody saying Aladdin's one of the better ones, it's like, yeah, that's fair. It's still bad though, you know.
Lady and the Atrocity.
He did like
Actually-
the two Sherlock Holmes duology that Robert
Yeah.
Downey Jr. stars
Yeah,
in.
those are like
Actually-
the big ones I've always wanted to see from his.
I actually liked the Alice in Wonderland remake. I thought that was okay,
Well,
but then it got fucking
People-
got worse
people are
over.
already people are already going nuts in a bad way for the Snow White.
That's the 2010 one, right?
the Tim Burton one, yeah, that's the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
there
thi- I
can't
think
be
that's-
any other
I think
one.
with that one, I think that's when like that was like before like Disney like got really obsessed with doing that.
Oh,
Because,
yeah,
like I feel like
yeah.
it wasn't until like years ago they started just get on the hype train with that. That was like way before it became a trend.
Yeah, oh yeah, that movie. I mean, I don't like that movie, but at least with that one, I'm like, that one's just bad because it's just a standard bad Tim Burton movie. Whereas with the later ones, you're just like, okay, why are you making these? You're just making the original movies, but worse. Like there's
Right.
you watch those Disney remakes and you just can't help but think, why am I watching this? There's no reason to. Like, this is not improving on anything from the original.
It's crazy to think that we're getting all these like talented directors that are like known for something to like do a
Yeah.
Disney remake, and it's
Yeah.
just all like flopping. Like
Yeah.
Tim Burton, Guy Ritchie, fucking Robert Zemeckis.
Oh, dude, Zemeckis fucking breaks my heart because he's made some of my favorite movies of all time. Back to the
The Back to
Future,
the Future trilogy,
Roger Rabbit,
trilogy.
Forrest
Yeah.
Gump. Yeah, all of those are some of my favorite
one.
movies of all time. And then he made the Pinocchio remake. It breaks my heart every time.
Yo, his downfall needs to be studied, examined, and just documented.
It is incredible. The fucking fact
What
that-
happened?
I know. You think Back to the Future, one of the greatest movies ever made, and then the Pinocchio remake. Like, what the fuck? To bring it back to Man from Uncle, it's technically a remake because it is adapting something that was previously established. But like I
True.
said, you don't need to know the context in order to enjoy it. Like with something like the Pinocchio remake, you kind of need to know the original Disney movie, to understand why that Zemeckis movie is the way that it is. And then you see it, and it's just like, oh, this is just the original 1940 film, but worse in every way. It does nothing better than the original. Whereas Man from Uncle, I feel like I'm confident I could watch some episodes of the original series and compare and contrast both the movie and the show and see like which one does things better, but not in a way where it's just like, oh, this does things far worse than this one. It's like, this is a different style. This is somebody attempting the same thing, but through different eyes, through a different perspective. And you can kind of compare them in a fun way rather than in a depressing way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Fuck. What?
I was crying. I was crying. Those are beautiful words.
Thank you.
Al.
Thank you. That's
Yeah, of course.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Well said, Hal. Well said.
Thank
My-
you.
my
I
tears
did start a
turning into ice
podcast
was
because
because
I
of
had
how
a lot of
cold
You
that
good
was.
done good, kid. You done good.
You done.
You're done good, kid.
You
I had a
done
really
good,
good
House
idea
Off.
for.
You done.
I had a really good idea for a podcast episode, Robyn, with Hal.
Yes.
Let's do Tenet.
No. Now then, yes.
You know what we should do? You should do another double. It's Tenet and Chicken Little.
Oh,
You know what?
Fuck, that's
Fuck it.
that's the April Fool's. That's the April Fool's episode.
That's the April Fool's stuff.
Fuck it. Let's open 10 again. Why not?
Yeah.
Actually,
I've never
I hate to bring
seen
you, we
Tenet, so
already
I
did-
don't know what your gripe is.
well, actually, I hate to bring it to you. We already did an episode on Tenet, so
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, let's do Tenet case reopened.
Tenet case, revisiting Tenet. It has been a year and a half since we last did the Tenet. No, it would be a year and a half because we did the Tenet episode July of 2023 because we paired it with Barbenheimer.
with yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. So yeah, we did Barbenheimer.
And just seeing Tenet and Oppenheimer back and forth, seeing Tenet first and Oppenheimer, is just like, okay, thank God Nolan redeemed himself. He's still got it in him.
Oh yeah.
What
yeah.
the
Right.
fuck
Yeah,
happened in Tenet?
that made Oppenheimer all the sweeter. Where you're just like, oh god, the last movie he made was Tenet, and then you watch Oppenheimer. And you're
yeah.
like, oh thank God, he still made a good movie.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Robert,
Yeah.
Iron Man.
Iron Man. Now do it again with an original film, because like I know you're down the Odyssey, but it's like give me another original film, please. Please tell me you still can write something original and like be good at it.
Yes, because
I'm just concerned.
Yeah, that's a good point, because yes, Tenet was the last original film he did, where it's like, maybe he should do something original again. Maybe after the Odyssey he'll do something, you know.
Well, told me I was going to do something original in the first place, and I heard like, oh, and then Universal's like, hey guys, so Nolan's adapting the Odyssey. That's it. That's the tweet. I'm like, we're doing another adaptation.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have full confidence it'll be interesting because it's Nolan. I even though I don't like Tenet, I still think Tenet is an interesting film. I mean, the fact it gets you this angry is interesting in and of itself enough, but still.
Okay, I think I like to get angry over it just for like the fun of it. But I feel like when I was like editing like the Tenet segment for James' Last Place ranking, the fact you were like so like soft on it's just like, damn, have I been riffing on this too hard?
I mean, look, like when you look at Tenet compared to the rest of his filmography, it is absolutely his worst. When you look at Tenet compared to a lot of other directors' best movies, it's just like, you know, the fact that this is considered Nolan's worst, it's honestly pretty impressive. He still has an impressive filmography where you're just like, if this is his worst, man, like he's doing pretty good for himself.
Yeah, actually, fair point. And you know, if you compare it with a bunch of the horrible shit that James ranked in the last place, it's like, okay, yeah, you know what, this ain't that bad.
Yeah, there are plenty of movies I've even talked about on the podcast where I'm like, I would sooner watch Tenet again than watch this or that, you know. Like I've seen some pretty horrible stuff in this podcast in the nearly 3 years I've been doing it. So
what's the worst thing you've watched for this podcast?
It's a good question, because I've had a couple where I'm like, that's the worst, and then I watch another one, I'm like, no, that's the worst, and then I've had a bunch where I'm just like, okay, I want to say...
I remember watching... Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to quickly say, I remember watching Quick, and then near the end, I'm just like, you know what? I'm owing Tenet an apology.
Yeah. Yeah, no, what would be the worst? I think currently the worst film I've talked about on the podcast, again, so far, would be Showgirls 2. I think that is currently the worst one.
Yes, I was hoping you were going to say Showgirls.
Yeah. Which is funny, because I remember, like, a couple episodes before the Showgirls 2 episode, I was like, no, this is the worst one. It was like Independence Day Resurgence was the worst one. And then we did the 100th episode. And then episode 101, me and William did 9 Lives of Fritz the Cat and Showgirls 2. And I was like, I gotta give it to Showgirls 2 being the absolute worst one. And yeah, I think ever since then, I would say Showgirls 2 still remains to be the worst one I've watched on the podcast. So
honestly,
what is Showgirls 2?
So have you ever heard of Showgirls 1?
No.
Okay.
Honestly, I almost went to mimic how William started the Showgirls episode and just go, we watched fucking Argylle.
Yeah. So Showgirls. Fuck it. I'll just go down this rabbit hole. So Showgirls was a movie made in 1995, and it's a movie about showgirls, you know, in Las Vegas. You know, just the life they live, and it's like a sleazy satire of that, but it's not a very good satire. It's from the same director as RoboCop and Total Recall, and it was once seen as one of the worst movies ever made. And then people watched it years later, and it's like, okay, this is just sleazy and stupid. It's not the worst thing ever made. But anyway.
And then the Sony Villainverse came.
Yeah. So anyway, we talked about it on the podcast because William made me buy it on 4K from Vinegar Syndrome. And so now it's in the collection forever. I have the 4K of Showgirls.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So then William, in a devious lick, a classic William devious lick, sent me the 9 Lives of Fritz the Cat on Blu-ray, because the Showgirls episode, it was Showgirls, and then we talked about Fritz the Cat, a Ralph Bakshi movie from 1972. And then he sent me 9 Lives of Fritz the Cat, the Fritz the Cat sequel on Blu-ray. I don't remember why. Because he got mad at me because I showed everybody Yongari, the 98 Yongari movie in VC. And William's the kaiju guy, so he wanted to be there. And he was just like, "That's it. I'm sending you 9 Lives of Fritz the Cat on Blu-ray." And I'm like,
"Isn't that bad? I don't remember."
And then I was like, "All right, bitch. Then I'm making you watch it for the episode." So in episode 101, I made him watch 9 Lives of Fritz the Cat, and because it was the Fritz the Cat sequel, well, we had to be like, well, we have to pair it with the Showgirls sequel. So we watched Showgirls 2: Pennies from Heaven, which is a sequel to the first Showgirls, and well, it's a movie made like 15 years after the first one, with like one or two or three of the actors returning. The main character of the first one doesn't even show up in the second one. It's shot on like Walmart camcorders, and it's like 2.5 hours long, and it is one of the worst things I've ever seen. It's pretty bad. It's one of those.
Worse than Morbius?
Oh, dude, Morbius is so funny. Like, I love Morbius.
What?
Hell yeah.
Well,
But do you love it more than Faust?
no. Well, that's a tricky question.
Wow.
I mean, look. Anyway, Showgirls 2, one of the worst movies I've ever talked about on the podcast. That's what this whole tangent was about. But yeah, for anybody who needs more context, just listen to episodes 54 and 101 of the podcast. It's streaming somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else we want to mention about The Man from U.N.C.L.E.? I know we didn't go too much into detail of it, but like,
We never really talked about the plot, didn't we?
I mean,
Yeah,
because
well,
I think it's just something you gotta watch. You know, there's not really a lot to talk about with it. It's just a very solid movie.
It's just like, yeah.
Whereas I feel like you can go into detail with Argylle because there's so much wrong with it. Whereas Man from U.N.C.L.E., you can watch it and be like, no, I know what works about this. Not that nothing really works. It's more so just, it's not the greatest thing ever made. It's just a really solid movie. And I think more people should check it out. And I'm glad you guys watched it.
It's one of those, like, it's not trying to be a good movie or like being insanely good, but it's like it does what it does.
It's doing its job, and that's not a negative thing.
Yeah.
I'll be fair. It's like, I think like when we were watching it, I think we weren't as like chaotic watching it compared to Argylle. It's just like, I think we were mostly like just silent and just like actually just more focused on it.
Yeah.
I was like concerned of like if anyone was like confused, thinking like this is like suck. I'm like, man, why are we watching this? It's like, I mean, it's just like I'm sure it's good. I just think like I didn't like click with me that much into it. To like be super invested into it, but it's like I definitely digged it. I should probably give it a rewatch. I probably like it a lot better.
Yeah,
there's big moments like I liked like the opening scene where like the car chase.
Oh yeah,
and like the cool like edits they did with that. I'm just like, and I kind of just wish they did like more zany like editing, like cinematography and shit like that, because they do that again in the end. It's just like, and then the middle part's just okay. Where's all the cool shit?
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing about it too is like for me, like the way that I work is like the less I say about the movie, the better the movie actually is. And if I say more about the movie where it's like all the good shit about the movie, that's where you know it's a really good movie in my opinion. So like
I think maybe. Oh, sorry. No, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying like so like for the sake of The Man of U.N.C.L.E., I didn't really say much like throughout the movie and even after the fact because it's like. It's a solid plot for what it is. There are some parts about it where it's really boring, but there's nothing about the movie itself where I'm like, it really was a problem. It was just, it was a very, very like I'm not gonna say like totally plateaued, but like the sake of the action versus the suspense and whatnot, it was very plateaued in terms of like it stayed stable.
Yeah.
And when the movie is stable, then it's like okay, so it's a decent movie. Would I watch it again? Probably not.
That's fair.
But the only gripe I really had was in like the second to third-ish act where they just had that really weird ass boat montage where it just suddenly broke out into this stupid ass like action sequence like Mission Impossible.
Dude,
like, where did this come from? Why is this here? What's going on here? Like in my review, I remember Robyn was in VC when I was posting my review, and I was like, "Oh, this is a pretty decent movie. You know, it's got some issues. It's a little it's a little bland at times, but what the fuck is that montage sequence? What is going on here? What just happened? Oh, hey, look at that. He's managed to find some vegetables over in a box in the car that he's sitting in." Cool.
Dude, I love that too. Like Ivan's like fighting for his life, like getting run down by all like the guards and stuff. Or no, why did it call him? No, that's not his name. Is it? I know it's like something Russian.
Yeah.
Like he's a
One
like
of those,
he's a
like,
Russian guy.
It's one of those
I was-
movies.
Oh, yeah,
that I
Russian
can't-
accent. There's German people.
Ilya.
I think.
Ilya is the Army Hammer's character's name. The Soviet.
Oh yeah,
guy.
Ilya. I don't know why. I don't know why I said Ivan.
I mean,
think that's-
Ivan's
I
a
know
Russian
that's-
name, you know.
It is. I don't. Ignore me. But yeah, he's fighting for his life, getting chased out by the guards and stuff. And then Solo's just in the truck, and he's just watching it just all play out, just like, hey, he'll be fine. And then it just feasts on like on vegetables and wine, and then it's like, all right, trying to drown myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like he jumps out the
I
boat
love
and the
that
boat
scene.
explodes. I'm like, why could we focus on the action that's going on? This is way cooler. But at the
It's,
same time,
I
this is
want to make
kinda
a joke,
funny.
like I just want to joke like that, like everyone like on like in the ocean, just like that's the Sparks gang. Nate just feasting in the truck,
It's like a
big
it's
bag.
It's a movie that I can't actually like make jokes
Mhm.
during it because it's just like the funniest thing I could think of was like, oh, this dude looks like Tom McGuire, and
Wait, which one looks like Tobey Maguire?
I can't remember, but there was a dude on like a fucking. It was a dude on the chase scene at the end who was in the forest, and I was like, he weirdly looks like Spider-Man.
That's
The only other
Yeah, that scene was also cool.
the only other scene where I really had like a comment about it was just like the freaking hotel fight scene, which is a little weird, but I knew exactly what they were trying to do, and I'm like, oh, just fuck already.
I
It's
like
just do what people are expecting you to do in this scene because everyone knows what you're trying to portray here, and then
I'll do it.
do the and just cut over to the next day.
Oh, dude, and I think like another thing I really liked was when Solo was like drugged and like kidnapped, and this guy is like this scientist dude. I was like just trying to like torture him with electricity, like imagery, and then of course
That's why he did
dude,
kill
wait,
himself.
wait, no, hold on, let me build it up first. What's the Russian guy's name again? I forgot.
Ilya.
Ilya.
Ilya comes in and saves him, and they strap him into it. Ilya just wants to like torment him and put him through it. It's just like, no, man, don't do that. And then he's just like, and then he like and then like it does it. It stops, tinkers with it, and then they leave the room. Just like, we want to keep this guy alive. We need him like questioning all that stuff and like, well, what do we do with him and all that. And then in the background, like he gets electrocuted and it's all on fire, and they turn around like, well, shit. Well, that just happened.
Not
Yeah.
even that. It's like he tries to escape. He trips a wire, which then causes a spark to then go throughout the rest of the chair. It sets him up on fire, and he's just in smoke while they're just having a casual conversation. And then just turn around and
And
they're
they
like,
turn around.
well, fuck, we're gonna need a new witness.
I thought that was good.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
understand your criticisms for the movie, because it, like I said, it's not the greatest thing ever made. Like more like Robyn, this is not Dark City. Like you remember when I had you on the Dark City episode and I was like glazing the hell
dude.
out of that movie? It's because
Yeah.
I genuinely think, even though that's also a movie that wasn't huge when it first came out, but that's when I want to like spread the word on, where I'm like, this is actually really fucking good. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. It's so good. Not many people talk about it, so I want to spread the word on it. Whereas this is more of a casual, like, this is a good movie.
Sick.
Yeah, and I want people to check it out because I think it's a good movie. But I'm not going to pretend like, oh, this changed the spy genre. This is like one of the smartest spy political thrillers you'll ever see. It's like, no, it's just a really solid movie. And yeah, it is weird to talk about in the context of Argylle, because Argylle is a funny movie, so you have like a million things to say about it. Whereas this with here, I kind of expected it where people would just be like, yeah, it's good, and there's really not much more to that. The only reason I wanted to pair it with Argylle is because, well, I have it on Blu-ray, and as I've said, when it comes to the podcast, we have to have at least one movie to talk about that I have on Blu-ray. So, and it was a good excuse to rewatch it and be like, do I want this in the collection? In which case, yes, I do.
Oh, you know, speaking of Dark City, I doubt Nevermore watched it, but I think at one point I compared this to the Clancy lore 21 Pilots.
You did do that. Yeah,
Reason?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Clancy.
Oh,
You were
I call-
pretty
it was like
Hello, Clancy.
I compared it to that, and like I also compared it to Persona 3. My review for it was Christopher Nolan's Persona 3.
Yeah. Yeah, Nevermore ZP. If you ever come across the movie Dark City from 1998, it's very good. Highly recommend
It's a little too dark for my liking.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Then you're not gonna
Well,
love
then
my
Faust is
favorite
dark-
movie of all time.
Faust is darker because it reminded me of Faust in a way.
Yeah,
Mm.
but
It only got 66% on Metacritic.
Actually, you know what a movie I did want to like bring up when you said like what was like the worst thing you watched for your podcast. This wasn't a podcast episode, but I think like the only time like, I think the worst thing I watched you seeing that you were like angry about was The Adventures of American Rabbit.
that is that is notorious as being probably the angriest I've ever been watching a Wheel Night movie. And it's funny because I don't even think the movie is that bad looking back at it. But I think because I was admittedly a little drunk during that night, and just watching this stupid animated rabbit movie from the 80s, just I don't know. I think I was also just in a bad mood because we watched Gags the Clown before it, and so then to watch this,
Oh no!
and so that put me in a bad mood. And so then we kept watching the movie. We watched The Adventures of American Rabbit, and again I was like a couple beers in, and I'm just like bored out of my mind. And I got really angry where I'm just like, this fucking sucks. So I think in fairness, I don't think The Adventures of the American Rabbit is technically the worst thing we've ever seen. I just like saying it is because I think it's funny that I got really angry that night watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is always funny to bring up that movie. Oh, Adventures of American Rabbit, man.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, Man from U.N.C.L.E. Blu-ray, I'm keeping it. I don't know. Do you guys ever want to add it to your collection, the Blu-ray?
Actually,
Yeah.
I actually have a question.
Okay, yeah, Robyn, you go first.
I'm sorry. I think you were trying to say something.
Okay,
I
yeah.
was just saying, I don't really do DVD collections, so
Okay, well,
that's all I'll say.
that's fine. Nevermore, you had something?
I was gonna say, yeah, I'd add it just because it's like it's simple. It's a simple movie. It's one
Sure.
I can just sit down and like get work done, have in the background. It's just fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, Robyn.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
What version is your Blu-ray?
The version. It's just a pretty standard Blu-ray. It comes with the Blu-ray and the DVD. Oh, because I think William said this. Is there like a 4K released recently on it?
Yeah. Okay. I want to bring that up. Arrow Video released a 4K of it that I've never seen at Mobile. I'm like, oh shit, Man from U.N.C.L.E. I need this for the podcast. God damn it! It's only 4K. Never mind.
Yeah. It does come with.
I want to own it on physical. And then it's just like, oh, on a 4K player. I can't buy this.
Yeah.
Damn it, Arrow.
There is a standard Blu-ray released by Warner Brothers because it's from 2015. So they.
Well, yeah, it's from Warner, but it's
Yeah.
like I don't know. Sometimes third party like physical releasers like Criterion, Vinegar Syndrome, Arrow Video. I feel like they have so much more to package with it than like the main like Hollywood studio would do with like their release.
We've talked about Arrow Blu-rays on the podcast before.
And it was like a box set when I looked at.
Oh yeah, box sets especially. Yeah, Arrow does put out pretty high standard Blu-rays. Like I have 12 Monkeys on Blu-ray. I've talked about that on the podcast. Literally last episode we talked about Lake Michigan Monster. That's on Arrow.
So you can make Michigan Monster. I'm surprised Hundreds of Beavers didn't like get released by Arrow.
Yeah,
I'm surprised it wasn't someone else.
Yeah, no, Cartoona distributed, which Cartoona also did a good job on the Hundreds of Beavers Blu-ray. But yeah, it is a shame that it wasn't Arrow again. But Arrow makes some really good stuff.
I could have sworn I think there's at one point you guys said Vinegar Syndrome.
Well, so Cartoona is under the Vinegar Syndrome umbrella, just like how Deaf Crocodile. Yes. You know how Deaf Crocodile, we brought them up before. They did Heroic Times and all those
guys.
Yeah, they're also under Vinegar Syndrome, so you can access them through the Vinegar Syndrome site. So they're all under Vinegar Syndrome. They're just you won't see the Vinegar Syndrome logo on stuff from Deaf Crocodile or Cartoona.
Okay. Hey, Vinegar Syndrome. I doubt you're watching this, but please release Obex physical from you guys. I will buy it.
Yeah. Well, Cartoona did do Obex, so I don't see any reason why Cartoona won't do an Obex Blu-ray.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't see any reason. So, yeah. for anybody listening, go watch Obex. I mean, you can't now because it's in the festival circuit, but if you ever have a chance to watch Obex, it's fucking awesome. It's
yeah. So ZP, have you guys seen Tux and Fanny with us, right? Or at least Eyeballs in the Darkness?
Yes.
This is by the same director.
Yeah. Albert Burney.
It is completely different from what he does with Tux and Fanny. With like Tux and Fanny, it's like a sweet, simple, colorful series, that you can just, it's just like with every short episode or so, just put fun for the film. No, he walks the fuck in and goes and makes the darkest shit imaginable. This shit was twisted.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of like
wow.
It's kind of a horror flick in a way.
Yeah,
it's like Hundreds of Beavers, but like taken more seriously and like scary and just fucks with you.
I definitely see the Hundreds of Beavers comparisons. But yeah, it's definitely a lot more serious.
It also kind of ends like a Nolan film in a way.
In a way, yeah, I can see that. But yeah, Obex, really good. It's my favorite movie of 2025. It's also the only 2025 movie I've seen so far at the time of recording this.
Yeah, so. it's like okay, it's like Hundreds of Beavers like actually a good movie. So
yes.
Sometimes I can't tell.
Yes.
Yes.
Dude, I mean,
okay, because like when Robyn wanted me to do a thing for James's thing, I was like, I've never seen this movie, but so I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
And then
the idea.
Seeing the video, I was like, what the fuck?
I mean, look.
I think okay. So never mind. What I need to do is like I need to show you what they did first. That is like Michigan Monster, just to get you to understand of like what their style is like when it comes to like filmmaking.
Absolutely.
And then I'll show you Hundreds of Beavers.
Yeah, I mean you can watch either or separately, but yeah, if you watch like Michigan Monster and then Hundreds of Beavers, it would definitely make a lot more sense. But I recommend them both. They're some of my favorite movies of all time. But yeah, Hundreds of Beavers.
ZP like Michigan Monster.
I can't glaze that movie enough. It is so fucking good.
Yeah. No, you show me like Michigan Monster because my review on Letterboxd is literally just Scaramouche, Scaramouche. Because
it's as big as a lion.
Because at the very last scene where they're doing like that final pan of all the different faces, like when I first saw the face and the angle and the shading, I was like, oh, that just reminds me of Bohemian Rhapsody. But then they just kept zooming out, so I'm like, oh yeah, now it's like 4 faces. I could just make the Bohemian Rhapsody joke, and then they kept zooming out to show all the different faces.
Yeah, it's all the Ghost Army.
Yep, Ghost Army.
Seafield became one with them.
Yeah, so for the Ghost Army, I just kept going Scaramouche.
Scaramouche. Fuck, there was also a scene in Obex that reminded me of the Ghost when Seafield finds the Ghost Army.
That was not to spoil Obex. I mean, we'll spoil a little, but yeah, there is a scene where he goes to a church. It looked exactly like that scene in the church in like Michigan Monster. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It was like, and it didn't feel like a ripoff. It was like I'm like 99% sure it has to be an homage. It was so similar.
Yeah. No, if anything, dude, a collab between Albert and the I don't know what the main guy's name.
Ryland is the star, and then Mike Cheslick is like the writer. He's the writer and director and editor of Hundreds of Beavers, but then he was also the writer and editor of like Michigan Monster.
Get these three together for a movie. I would fucking watch it.
I would love that. That'd be awesome.
Flint, Michigan Monster.
So yeah, no. To go back on the Blu-ray of Man from U.N.C.L.E., dude. It's a very standard Blu-ray. Maybe I'll upgrade to the 4K because I'm a huge fan of Arrow. I'd love to have that, but I think for now I'll keep this Blu-ray, and then if I ever, feel like really getting the 4K, I'll definitely upgrade it to that. But either way, Man from U.N.C.L.E., it's absolutely staying in the collection. So,
hey Arrow, please release it normally on Blu-ray. I'd like to own this, please. I don't
cool.
want to buy the Warner version.
No.
You do so much more with it. I know you do. Don't do so much, please.
No.
No. It's a fucking Mighty Eagle clip. No.
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 One thing I should mention about Man from U.N.C.L.E., this feels like a movie I feel like Michael Caine should have been in. I don't know why.
Michael Caine's done like spy stuff. I feel like, I mean, what is Batman but a different
Cars
version of a
2.
spy movie? Cars 2. Fuck.
Cars 2.
It all comes back to Cars 2.
God damn it. I feel like I don't know, it just kind of just feels like a movie. Like I feel like you'd fit in. It'd just be like one of those like wise characters, like or like one of his like or like I don't know, like characters. He seems like a character like sort of like be in contact with, and just to give him like his like mission alerts, stuff like that.
If it wasn't Hugh Grant, I feel like I could see Michael Caine in the Waverly character. Yeah, I could see that.
I don't know. This is a dumb little nitpick. Also, funny how this is like my first episode of the year and it's not a Nolan episode.
Well, yeah, but we had to do the Argylle episode.
Yeah,
we've been planning this out for like a year.
Yeah,
it's been a long in the making.
It's been very long.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
So, we'll get back to Nolanthology soon, guys. Don't worry. I don't know when, but yeah.
Well, absolutely. Your next episode, whenever that is, we'll make it a Nolan episode.
Hell yeah, buddy.
And it's going to be Tenet again.
It's going to be Tenet again.
God damn it. You know what? Fine, sure. I'm not ready to end the Nolanthology yet. We can talk about Tenet again.
That's the monkey paw. The next episode you're on is going to be a Nolan episode. What's it on? Tenet.
It's going to be directed. It's going to be directed by Nolan because it's like, wait, no. I talked about this movie before. I'm in a time loop. Get me out of here. No more.
These games before.
I played these games before. I potted this cast before. Too many movies before. Okay. All right.
You know what? For the sake of one thing, I want to just one little tidbit for Man of Uncle. Is like there's this one actor, I forget his name already, that it would have worked really well for this movie, but he's an Australian actor. He's like, all right. You want to do this the hard way? You want to do this the easy? I always forget. Like, he's always in action films.
Are you talking about Jason Statham?
Maybe? He's bald. I know he's always bald.
So, I don't think Jason Statham's Australian. I think he is English. But yeah, he's bald. He was in Beekeeper. Is that like a movie?
Yes,
that's Jason Statham. Yeah,
Jason Statham. I feel like he would have worked well in that. And Man from Uncle.
I'm just here. Yeah. I'm Jason Statham. I got my bees with me. I'm gonna fucking kill you now.
Oh my God.
It's me, the beekeeper. Well, Jason Statham has worked with Guy Ritchie before on movies, so yeah, I could see that.
Beekeeper meets Man from Uncle.
Every Australian person I just think of, it just sounds like Michael Cusack to me. Morty, we need to go to Bendigo and get me green cube.
It's a fucking beaut.
Going to Bendigo, Morty.
Me mate Morty and me.
I'm sorry. Like I know people know for like the Yellow series on Adult Swim, and I'm of course Smiley fan. But Bushwood Adventures was my introduction to him, and I've been in love with him ever since. He made like a fucking Australian parody of Rick and Morty, and it's better than the actual show.
I think Bushworld Adventures was my introduction to Michael Cusack too. Yeah, because I remember watching that before Smiling Friends. Just being like, yeah, this is hilarious. It probably, I think we have mentioned this before, I think it is better than any actual episode of Rick and Morty. It's been a while since I've seen an actual episode of Rick and Morty, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
What about the Rick and Morty anime?
Oh, that show I haven't watched?
Listen,
I heard it. I've not heard anything of that, and I think that's a good thing.
I know I tried giving it a shot. I wanted to like it. Definitely just feels like the first few episodes. It feels like it was very like no one directed, but like you're kind of like you can't really follow along with it. Kind of confusing.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then I tried. I know like most of you were like kind of like on it, and I'm like I want to be open minded about it because I want to give this a shot because I like the anime shorts that came out from it. They by the same guy who did the anime. Were actually like really good, and I liked how they portrayed the characters more than the actual show. And I guess it's just I kind of just fall off of it.
Yeah, well,
I didn't really continue with it.
From the sounds of it, it sounds like they worked as shorts, kind of like how Bushworld Adventures was also a short, and that's with the appeal of it. But then when you try to make that an entire series, then like the magic is kind of lost. Like if they made an entire version of Rick and Morty as a series, like they made the Bushworld Adventures an entire series, that would be annoying because I don't think you could make that magic and last it out throughout a season of television. That sounds like way too much.
And therefore, that's why YOLO kind of exists, because that's like, you know, Michael's like own original work. It's not like a parody of anything. And that like that YOLO started off as like 2 shorts, and then it became like its own series, and that works there. And now they're airing their 3rd season pretty soon.
Right.
I need to still watch that.
Yeah,
because I know everyone knows him for Smiling Friends. It's like, yeah, you gotta watch like his actual like own work.
I know, but
without Zach involved.
I love Smiling Friends so much, though. It's so.
Oh good. No, yeah, absolutely, dude. Yeah,
one of my all-time favorite shows. Like, not even just from the 2020s, just in general. I fucking love that show, dude.
Yeah,
so good.
Oh, so speaking of like Adult Swim anime, like we're all aware what fucking happened with Uzumaki, right?
I think I remember. I've never watched it, and I didn't pay that much attention to it, but I hear that didn't do very well, right?
It did not.
No, it did not.
It was phenomenal, and then I don't know what happened with the other 3.
Amazingly, and then it went
there was production hell.
Yeah.
Going on with that.
Damn.
It's sad.
Damn.
Yeah. All right, I've saw long enough. I'll plug my shit now.
Okay, cool.
So, I privated my Twitter, so if you want to like go on that, I'm sorry. I mean I'll still use it. I don't really tweet on there anymore. You'll find my posts like on Blue Sky now. So I just mostly like would just use that if you want to see me like talk about stuff while retweeting like cool art that my boyfriend also retweets, because I just copy whatever he does. I'll do that. And I'll probably like accept your follow on Twitter, but just don't expect like any posts from me. Just retweets. I don't use it. To tweet. I just look at it, just see cool art, and it's like, oh, that's neat. That's I guess that's all I could really. I started using Instagram a lot recently, so I guess I can plug that in. Of course, you'll find me on my letterbox where I log stuff like everyone else here, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
I use TikTok, but I only use that because I send this funny to my friends.
I mean,
we're doing on TikTok.
I mean, whatever.
We don't even post on it. We just DM funny stuff to each other. That's all that is.
I mean, whatever links.
Every day I wake up and wish TikTok was dead.
Whatever links you usually had in the episodes in previous episodes, like they're gonna be in the description, but regardless.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But so. ZP, why don't you shout out your stuff? Where can people find you?
All right, so I'm actually kind of all over the place, but you can really only actually find me in like a couple. So like, I have a YouTube. I actually use that. I'm currently working on something that's hopefully going to get released in April, depending on when this episode actually comes out.
I know what it is.
Yeah, you know what it is. There's a lot of people here that know what it is. How to decide what it is.
I do not. Yeah.
It's going to be very ambitious of mine. It's going to be my quote-unquote rebrand, even though it's going to keep the same name. My insignia is going to revert of sorts, but still going to evolve. And there's a lot of my aesthetic that's going to change into something new, but something that was already what it looked like before, if that makes sense. It's old but new.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited for that. I have started Twitch streaming again as of recently, but I haven't been doing much. I have a couple of games where I saved it for streaming from like years ago, but I never touched it. But only as of recently, it just was doing a lot of Ultra Kill streams. And you can go to find me on Twitch there, twitch.tv/zptube. YouTube, if you find my name, you might be able to find me through one of my more recent covers. That might be the easiest way. It's Slave to the Factory Line cover ZPTube. Just use that. It'll be easier. Let's see. I'm on Twitter, regrettingly. I only ever use that to just kind of look through stuff. I don't really probably like use Twitter other than advertisements and just looking at stuff when I'm bored. I have an Instagram, same kind of thing. I have a TikTok. I can't access it right now because of the fucking App Store. Fuck you for that one.
We really don't need to tag our TikToks into this. I just kind of mentioned it. Just like, I use that. It's just like, I don't just use that. Just be my friends. I don't post.
Yeah, and I have a Blue Sky. I want to get to using that more recently, but I want to save that for like more business stuff when I start picking up on more VA shit.
Fair enough.
So therefore, I've at least got I can build a more official platform on there because I want to keep Twitter and what I do on Blue Sky separate. So yeah, I've got a couple of platforms, but big ones are just YouTube and Twitch. That's about it.
Okay then. Nevermore, shout out your stuff, dude.
Ooh, I get the plug.
You get the plug.
So you can find me on many things. Like you can find me on Instagram. You can also find me on Twitter, and you can even find me lurking in your basement if you just look very carefully.
Wait a minute.
There's always a Keith. Yeah, my name is Keith. Hell, my name is Keith David. I heard you talk about my movie, Spawn.
Do I need to get Moon in here so therefore we can have someone with a real Keith David impression? Because right now this is getting a little sad.
Would kill you. I'm just kidding.
This
If
Christ.
there's anything else I can plug?
The plug.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
Mm.
Cool.
I have one more thing I want to plug.
Plug away.
Because I don't think I ever mentioned it like publicly, only like in the Sora and Shaft's group chat. So like I made so you know how this intro, so you know how the episode started. If you guys remember that, I like to make an announcement. I'm also going to be starting my own podcast, something similar to like Too Many Movies here, but instead of movies, we're going to be talking about music. I've just learned to like wanting to do like a lot of like music content for my channel lately, and I just assumed doing a podcast was better because I just rather just say what comes out of my mouth than just writing it down because I just work that way. I'm too lazy to write. I'm sorry. I'm not like James. I want to be like James, but like not really. So it's called Robyn's Turntable. That's the name I went with because I figured if I call it Too Many Records, I'd probably get with a copyright cease and desist.
You would.
At least that's
Yep.
yeah. So I
own
did,
the Too Many brands. I own them all.
And also too many games would come after you as well.
Oh fuck yeah, we gotta sue them. We gotta sue them.
Ooh yeah, we'll sue them first.
Yeah, we'll sue them first. They got rid of Will. We getting back on them for that.
Yeah. No, fuck them.
fault.
Yeah, fuck them for that.
Screenwave.
Yeah, fuck Screenwave. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, I probably wanted to do a podcast similar to Hal's show here because I collect a lot of physical like media. I collect a lot of movies, but I also collect a lot of like CDs and stuff, like CDs, records, not cassette tapes. But I should probably doing that. I have a jukebox for a fucking reason that I won in a sweepstakes. That's like a brisk theme, by the way. But I really wanted to like just talk about my love for music and find other music, have friends come on and talk about their love for music, and just go on for just all the same shit that you'd see on Too Many Movies. I want to do the same shit there with like music. Call it a spinoff if you want it. That's what I thought of doing. That's why I thought of calling it like Too Many Records, but I just figured, I want to get something original. So I went with Robyn's Turntable. I just thought that'd just be a better name, and I wanted to call it the Turntable, but I think that's already a name for a podcast, so it's like I don't know.
And this one's at least more specific to you.
Yeah, especially because like it's my collection. So like I would have like guests come on and they would probably either talk about an album they like, and I would talk about one in my collection, see if I want to keep it or not, and just the same rules and shtick. But I hope to have my episode like be done soon. I should probably like get on it because I kind of just like stalled around in January. I should have done it sooner, but like I plan to talk about probably my 6 favorite albums that came out in 2024 and just definitely like shaped my year during that time. Some that I've been invested in for a long time, and some that I got recently into, like 21 Pilots, Clancy. That's gonna be one of them. The rest you'll figure out for yourself. You'll just find out, fuck around, find out. So hopefully, like they'll probably be plugged in here at some point. Probably won't be by the time that this video comes out. So it'll just probably be later than that. I'll plug it again the next time I'm on here, so like people to be like up to date.
Sure.
And I'll probably be further into it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. Also, speaking of which, how I recently found out yesterday when I found out that there are at this moment 50 guests on this show,
That's
which
right.
I'm flabbergasted about.
Yeah.
I found out that you already did an episode on Pink Floyd's The Wall, so that crossover episode ain't gonna happen now.
I mean, I did an episode on Pink Floyd's The Wall, the movie. Like, I feel like the album is a completely different thing.
No, I thought I had like a funny idea in mind. Just like, no, what if we just did like a Too Many Movies, Robyn's Turntable crossover, where like I talk about the album on my show, or when you talk about the movie on yours, and they're like, oh wait, fucking did that already.
Yeah, sorry.
It's like a mixture between a movie and an album.
Yeah.
Well, what if you managed to tie it in with a Weezer album?
Oh.
Boom!
Wait, Weezer doesn't have a actually.
No,
I mean,
I'm saying that like you
Speaking-
tie in a movie to the Weezer album.
Speaking of Weezer, I actually did listen to Weezer the first time ever in my life.
Bloody Holly.
fuck. I guess we have to talk about that at some point.
I've never listened to Weezer.
Oh my god. Actually, I mean, there's other like albums out there with like a movie involved with it. I guess the Shine Out Intention one counts. I guess Weeknd's doing a movie on Hurry Up Tomorrow.
Hey,
You guys can watch Studio 666 and then talk about a fucking Foo Fighters.
What is Studio 666?
Foo Fighters made a movie.
What's with these homies dissing my Argylle?
I cannot make this shit up. Hold on, Studio.
Oh my goodness.
Tell me all about that later. I'm curious to hear about it, but like, I think it's time we wrap this up.
I think so too. So thank you, dudes. All your links will be in the description below. Thank you for coming on, talking about Argylle and the Man from Uncle.
Taking over the podcast.
Yeah, taking over the podcast. Exactly. All right.
Over the podcast.
All right, time to end this.
I do that a lot.
Goodbye, everybody. See you all next time.
Goodbye.
It was good to be here.
Fuck. Adios, amigo.
Just